Good evening, everybody. Welcome to FPRL Tier 3 social race around Singapore this evening. And it's the last social race for the Tier 3 drivers before their season gets underway next Wednesday, same time. As you can see, we've got a full grid of drivers this evening. 20 drivers taking on the perils of Singapore. Looks like it's dry, at least for the moment, for them. Anyway, I'm joined in the commentary box once again this week by my good friend TJM1992. TJ, how are we?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself, brother?
Very good, thank you. Very good. I'm glad we've got a full grid to watch tonight then. So I did just want to bring up the drivers then, because it's the last, as I mentioned, the last social race before we get into the main season then. So we've got tonight, if I can just load the list of drivers separated by tier. We've got RSF1 Locker, T-Jerk, David Lowface, Cornforth, Adrian H, Luke on 60Hz, Mongo, Snedden, Lewis Mason, PFB Ghost hasn't arrived unfortunately, so his seat has gone to another Tier 1 driver. FaZe Ironboy and TS9 for good measure. They're the Tier 3 drivers we're looking at tonight, out of the field of 20. The other drivers in Tiers 2 and 1. TJ, is there anyone, as we see FaZe Ironboy go out almost immediately at the start of the session? I was just about to mention TJ, I hope it wasn't FaZe Ironboy you were going to say, but is there anyone that you're looking out for to make it through to Q2 over other drivers in Tier 3?
I think it's a tough one, to be honest, to say anything like that. But obviously we've got a lot of Tier 3 drivers in the social race this week, but the other two rounds hasn't been really Tier 3 heavy, so I think it's anyone's game here. Also, I'd expect the likes of DJ, David Lawface, RSF1 Locker, the drivers from last season that you've got the pace. I'd expect them to get through to Q2, but there's a few unknowns in here. So I know Snedden, he's one of our new Tier 3 drivers racing tonight, so keep an eye on him.
Yeah, you mentioned David Lowface partnered with his good friend Collateral Ads, so their combination, I know, like to be called Collateral Face, as we've got a Mercedes driver that's gone straight on. It's Lewis Mason, who I don't think has a front wing either. The only driver, interestingly enough, on medium tyres at the moment. As I mentioned, FaZe Ironboy already out of qualifying, just a matter of minutes/seconds, I should say, into the session. Not the greatest corner numbers on this circuit, but I think we've just witnessed on screen a portion of track where FaZe Ironboy dropped it, and just after the bridge into tight left-hander before the DRS zone. I'm not sure what number that is, as I mentioned. Not great with numbers, believe it or not, as an accountant, but unfortunately I avoid taxes. I don't remember corner numbers, unfortunately, for most.
So yeah, I think our first driver going across the line set laps, Collateral Lads. Coming around final corners now. 1:37.3. I think that's a decent lap from Collateral Lads. First person on the board, so we'll see if we'll just go quicker than him.
Yeah. Some slight technical difficulties on the stream there. For some reason my screen decided to turn off. That's always a good sign. Collateral Lads crossing the line with that lap. Yeah, good time with a 37.3. Just short of 7/10 quicker than Twins in second at the moment. Mongo, the Tier 3 driver, through in fourth place with a 1:40.0. He'll surely improve under that. Silverside Boy with a 37.7 then. So 4 drivers to put a time in. We're on board with T-Jerk. The drivers, the spectators I should say, of last season will know this was a driver Tier 1, perhaps feeling a little bit hard done by to be in Tier 3 this season, so perhaps looking to make a name for himself today, TJ. I know he improved with some performances towards the end of his Tier 1 season in Season 2. Do you think he's got it in him to kind of put himself at the front of the field in Tier 3?
Yeah, I reckon so. As you mentioned, he had a fantastic back end of the season, showed a lot of form. You know, he was getting top 10s quite easily. Had good race pace. So, yeah, keep an eye on this drive. So I reckon he could be leading, fighting with a couple of drivers in this tier to get a championship.
Yeah, as he crosses the line and goes third fastest out of the Tier 3 drivers, then Liam Cornforth currently heading the Tier 3 drivers. Collateral Lads at the top of the standings overall at the moment. Johnny Vane goes fifth fastest with a 38.2 in the Alfa Romeo. The rest of the drivers in the pits at the moment that are on a fast, that need to set a time I should say, apart from Kluzjak, who has invalidated this run, so will look to go again. Snedden, as you mentioned earlier, with us tonight for the first time, and set out lap. I think personally he's one to watch in this session, Snedden. I know we've raced with him a couple of times informally rather than on stream. I know he has got a little bit of pace behind him, so it's interesting to see just what kind of pace he's got compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I've raced him a couple of times and he was keeping up as well, so yeah, I want to watch for definite. Same as Lewis Mason 07, formerly we raced with him. I'm not on the stream, and you know he has shown pace in some of the races we've been in, so that's probably another driver to watch.
Yeah, definitely a couple of drivers that have shown pace outside of the league, so a couple of names to be tipped there. We saw Kluzjak get very power heavy, almost with a snap of oversteer, stick it in the wall, but he did manage to keep it out the wall, and he has one of the middle sector then. He's not invalidated so far as he did on his first lap. He has had to take an extra lap of life out the tyres to go again. There's a very good time from Johnny Vane there, 37.1 on 2-lap-old soft tyres, so not feeling safe in himself here. There's my personal... Oh, and he hits the wall. I was just about to say, I hate this part of the track, and he slides and hits the wall. Graphically he's avoided damage, but seems to be struggling. Crosses the line and still sets a 38 flat. Seems to get very out of shape in the final sector there. I don't know if you saw that, TJ, but he did cross the line and still will go fourth fastest.
Yeah, I didn't quite see it, but from what you're talking, I can gather what he's done, and I don't know about you personally, but I find that no matter what setup you got here, that the rear tyres get extremely hot towards the back end of the track. So as you leave sector 2 into sector 3, and you've got to have some real control to keep it on track. I really struggle with it personally. I don't know about yourself.
Yeah, slightly. It's very, you know, traction heavy circuit. You have to be so careful with traction to control the temperature of the tyres, as you mentioned. Some drivers clearly making that work rather than others. The performance yellow flag out at the moment. That's cleared away before Snedden reaches it on his fast lap at the moment, his first lap this evening. I always find the bit that we just saw Snedden go through there, where you run slightly wide after that DRS straight, you can invalidate there. Surprisingly, a Silverside boy retires. I think he's on track as well, actually.
Oh, he has. Yeah, he's dropped it. I don't know the calling names, but halfway through sector 2 by looks on it.
We're about to find out here. Yeah, oh, he's completely in the wall. He's well out the way there. So Silverside boy out of qualifying then. Tier 2 driver, I should say, for next season. Disappointing there. Was probably hoping to mix it up with the Tier 1 boys tonight and prove that perhaps he should be back in that tier, but it's a bad start to the evening for him, and he will start no higher than 14th. There's Henkas now as well. Out of the session. Right on board with Adrian. Hit the wall on the outside there, and he's dropped the back end and ended up on the inside wall, but there's another driver out now there, so 3 drivers retiring from the session will take no further part in qualifying then. That makes it a little bit easy for the guys at the back to get through now, of course. The likes of Lewis Mason, TS9 yet to set a lap. TJ, do you think that will change people's outlook on the session now?
Yeah, I reckon so. Perhaps we know some of the front runners, so maybe from, I don't know, Liam Cornforth onwards, maybe Dino onwards, that they'll feel sick on times now when perhaps some feel a need to go back out.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And we mentioned earlier on, TJ, we cut away from Snedden's lap because of Silverside Boy and Henkas's crash. But Snedden has got second fastest with a 37.3. Ahead of Collateral Lads, who we know is a very quick driver in Tier 1. We've not seen Snedden drive. He's provisionally placed for Tier 3 next season, but surely with that pace, he'd have to be reconsidered for his tiering next season.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's, you know, he's got sort of a Tier 1 guy there. He's not too far behind the Tier 2 guy. You know, if you continue their sort of perhaps show for the race, that, yeah, the consideration may be pointing Tier 2.
Yeah, well, he's just short of a second faster than the closest Tier 3 driver, Liam Cornforth, in 6th place. It's a good lap from him, it should be said, as well as we're watching AMS Drive, who we know is a very quick driver, come around the final corner, crosses the line, and there you have it. As I mentioned, we know how quick he is, a 36.2, phenomenal pace, again, by the British-born, Japanese-loving driver, I should say, for people that see his flag later on in the standings. Adrian in 17th, then a Tier 3 driver we've not seen too much action of so far. Around that tricky part of the track. I said you run wide there sometimes and you can invalidate. I don't agree with it, but you can do it. But he's very, very cleverly negotiated that. Coming under the grandstand now. I know a couple of drivers struggled to keep it out of that tiny wall on the outside there of the corner. Now we're going to see where Klustrak struggled on his last lap, but he keeps it a little bit cleaner there, Adrian, as he comes around the final corner where, as TJ mentioned, the hot tyres can get away from you and send you into a spin, but Adrian keeps it clean and crosses the line with a 37.4.
Yeah, I'll be really happy on that. You know, I reckon I'll look at the standings currently. David Lowface will definitely try to set a faster lap. RFS1 Locker, LWS Yorkie, a Tier 1 driver, you'll definitely go from there on 138.8. So yeah, probably anyone under T-Jerk, including T-Jerk, will want to go again, set a faster lap.
Yeah, definitely want to look to get a faster lap, and of course TS9 and Lewis Mason yet to set a time. The 3 drivers are out of the session, as we mentioned. Silverside Boys showing no higher than 15th now, depending on those drivers who set times then. David Lopez, as you mentioned, will want to improve now coming through the final sector.
I was just going to mention just on the in the Twitch chat that Silverside Boy says his controller disconnected and the car went straight on and crashed.
Well, that sounds like a you problem, Silverside Boy, unfortunately. As David Lawface negotiates the final corner, keeps it clean, as we know he is a very clean driver. Goes half a second quicker, struggles to improve on his positioning, stays 14th then for Ferrari. We know Singapore is a real challenging track for drivers. It's one of those that really tests driver ability more than car performance, I think, personally. I'm just wondering, TJ, I'm looking at the order on the left-hand side of the screen. We are seeing, as you mentioned, LWS Yorkie, Dean even in 10th place. You know, perhaps these drivers were not expecting the pace that we've seen from some of the Tier 2 and Tier 3 drivers, and perhaps took it a little bit more cautiously, and now they've got to burn another set of tyres trying to get through.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one on Singapore, because it's very famous for rain, I think. And it's making me wonder whether these guys are potentially hinting at a wet race here, and perhaps they've set themselves up with a setup that suits that.
Potentially. We'll only find out, of course, unless someone lets us know in the chat for the weather forecast for the race. Klustrak has got no front wing, cuts the corner. I think we can forgive him for that one. Front wingless in 7th place. He should be through with that time. Let's see who's out on track at the moment then. Mongo needs to improve. He's 2/10 up then, according to his first sector delta. He's about to cross the second timing point for the lap, and now he's 6/10 up as well, but I don't think that puts him into a very good position still, unless he improves greatly through the final sector here. Mongo, he's got a Red Bull ahead of him. TJ, traffic for you, is this something you've encountered on this circuit before, or do you think drivers don't really struggle too much?
I don't think it struggles too much as long as the driver stay out of the way. I know when Dino's dropped it, he's out.
Dean has dropped it. We'll go on board with Locker and see exactly where that is, and he's crashed at McLaren right onto the inside wall after that DRS straight. Then, as I mentioned, if you run slightly wide there, you invalidate the best of times, but if you cook the rears, send you into a spin, and that's exactly what he's done. Now Dean will take no further part in this session, so that is now Silverside Boy and Dean both out then. Perhaps these drivers now sensing an opportunity to have a bit of a better starting position than they would have expected.
Yeah, definitely. I've just been on board with Luke on 60 Hz, and he's just spun it coming out of turn 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at an upside down map here. I think it's turn 3, possibly 2. I don't think it's 3, isn't it? That slight kink that somehow they class as a corner. But yeah, he has dropped it there. I think he should be through with that time in 10th place. AMS Drive, of course, retiring out in front. Collateral lads, we haven't mentioned a set of 36.6 there to get 4/10 of AMS Drive. A very good time from him. At the moment, T-Jerk beating his good friend Kloosjak as well in terms of pace. And so some of these Tier 3 drivers, Adrian and T-Jerk, doing a solid job at the moment.
Yeah, this is fantastic to see. I'm not quite sure what's happened to TS9 here. He's I think he's retired in the pits and hasn't set a lap at all.
Yeah, looks like he hasn't gone out at all, as you mentioned. Hasn't put a time in. 4 drivers out of time at the moment. 2 of those we know crashed. TS9 looks like he's retired in the pit lane and not gone out for a lap. Mongo's not going to improve either, so he's out. So the last driver then that can shake up the standings in this session now, Lewis Mason. He's run a little bit wide there, he's kept it clean, unlike Dean managed through that corner though. Now coming through the final complex of corners, and he's invalidated.
Oh, he'll be gutty with that, especially not to get a lap on the board these days anyway. But that's a risk of leaving it so much to try to set a lap in Singapore.
Definitely. 4 drivers without a time in Q1 then. Valiantly he's going to try and finish the lap. Snedden's retired, I don't think he's on track. We've got a Red Bull stopped. Oh, it is Snedden on track. It is Snedden, so Snedden's crashed on track. From 13th fastest, I think is that the slingshot? Well, it used to be the slingshot corner down at, is it turn 8 possibly?
Yeah.
It was just cleared as I was spectating RSF1 Locker there, 'cause I think he was just about to drive through and he's just cleared. But that's Snedden, who's also retired then on track, crashing into the wall. We didn't quite get to see where it was.
I mean, this makes Q2 interesting because it only means that 2 drivers have been knocked out.
Yeah, 12 drivers then. 12 drivers. And
that's
going to take part in Q2.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
So all of Snedden's good work, getting a 37.3 to put himself in 4th fastest, completely undone then. On board with RSF1 Locker has finished. It's Lewis Mason.
Yeah, I think he's got
the checkered flag next to him.
I think he's got the time glitch where he's invalidated the lap anyway.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, he's invalidated anyway. Looks like he has got that famous Codemasters time glitch where if you rejoin the session, your clock resets. So if we can just get a message to Lewis Mason and tell him to retire. I think he's, yeah, that's timed him out anyway, crossing the line there as he's gone straight on into the wall. Well, even if it wasn't, I think he's got the message there, and he has retired. Very sportsmanlike from Lewis Mason then, and we have our bottom 5. I should say, really, we have our bottom 8.
Yeah.
Because 3 drivers then are not going to take part in Q2. We're going to only have 12 for Q2 then. So AMS Drive was quickest with a 1:36.2. We probably expected that. Adds not too far behind though, just 4/10 back. In the Ferrari, still quite a big gap between the top 2 drivers, and the field very spread out, really, in terms of the drivers who were able to get a fast, clean lap in it. Then Snedden, Silverside Boy, and Dean all retiring after crashes on track and will not take part in Q2 despite setting times to get through. And we lose Mongo, FaZe Ironboy, TS9, Lewis Mason, and Henkas. And it was FaZe Ironboy and Henkas who also crashed on track then. So I think, I'm counting correctly, I think that was 5 drivers there, TJ, that we saw crash on track. And who do you think, out of the 12 drivers left, I should say, who do you think is going to profit from that?
I mean, obviously the biggest one from that currently was probably David Lolface. I'm assuming he might have a few issues, but he only managed to set a 1:39.2, which if other drivers have finished will knock him out in Q3. To get through to Q2 is a massive advantage for him. And I personally find Singapore isn't a great overtaking track. So to get track position, especially if it might be a wet race as well, he's got a massive benefit from this.
Definitely will benefit from it. We've not had an update on the weather at the moment, unfortunately. Just looking through the Twitch chat then, before we get underway in Q2. Louise, welcome back, Louise, cheering on Object Fungus, who isn't here, unfortunately. So thanks for that one, Louise. But it's nice to see you here anyway. Pick another driver to cheer on this week. Object unfortunately dropped out at the last moment. Cats 1995. Any chance for the Discord to join the league? I've just posted the link for you if you are watching. I've posted it in the chat. Yeah, as you mentioned, Silverside Boy controller disconnected and car went straight on. That's a him problem, unfortunately. Lewis Mason keeps crashing on his outlap, and then apparently had 8 minutes left on his timer. So he was watching the stream.
If you've got a minute, would you mind just checking the comms chat and the Discord? Dean's asked a question, and I'm not entirely sure we should. No. No, unfortunately, team, we won't be restarting any races today. I don't know if that's got something to do with Henkas's full wet start message. Could be into towards the end, apparently. Yeah, that's
so we have got a weather update. Thank you, Henkas, there for that weather update. Yeah, I think that's represented by the drivers who are currently most of the field on softs, 2 drivers on mediums, interestingly enough, but it does look like then, according to Henkas, who's our weatherman for this evening, that it is going to be a wet race.
Yeah, so that might explain LWS's lack of pace in Q1. If he's got himself a setup on for a wet race, then that would explain why he didn't have to pace as well. And maybe Dino's as well, unfortunately, crashed out Q1, but he wasn't quick as well. So these drivers might be playing a bit of a long game and trying to and perhaps sacrifice a bit of qualifying pace, just so they've got the pace in the race for the wet race.
Yeah, definitely. We know how much of an aerodynamic circuit this is. Most drivers running 11 wings in the dry and tubing it with the same in the wet, so I'm not too sure in terms of the setups how different that would make a difference in terms of timings, but definitely something to consider. Just want to mention, TJ, as you were talking there, we saw Collateral Ads give a very valiant tow to David Lowface through the first DRS zone down into turn 4 or 5, and not fantastic. The corner numbers, as people know, and
that's great. That's great to make between Collateral Face.
Collateral Face, as they like to be known, the Dynamo duo, the Ant and Deck of FPRL. Unfortunately, they don't race in the same league or potentially for the same team. Driver draw on Sunday for people wishing to know their seats for next season. Sunday, 8 PM GMT, as David Lowface crosses the line 39.3 then. Now there's only 2 drivers that will drop out now, and unless there's retirement, you kind of expect drivers to be able to beat that 39.3 there. Johnny Vey definitely has with a 37.2. That's a great lap from him in the Alfa Romeo. And now David Lowface trying to give a tow to his teammate Collateral Ads, and an Alpine got away in the way a little bit there of Twins, who invalidated as well for good measure. Let's see who's on a lap lane. Liam Cornforth at the moment is also invalidated. A lot of drivers in the pits then. Locker still going round on those medium tyres. It looked like Liam Cornforth, the other driver that was on the mediums, I think he's come in and got rid of those now for soft tyres. So let's see what Locker does. I'm surprised to see him out there in the mediums, as you know, our weatherman tells us it's going to be wet, and the rest of the field also on softs as well, but I don't know, perhaps he's just trying to make a name for himself here on the medium tyres. See how close he can get to the guys on the softs then. Let's follow him through the final sector here. TJ there. So if we just follow Locker here through the final sector, I mean, is there any points in which you particularly detest in this final sector, I should say?
Yeah, so the bit that Locker's just gone through, I always I either turn in too early and invalidate it, or turn a bit too late. And as you try to correct it, you get a bit of the back end swings back around on yourself. Also, this bit that Locker's just gone through there with them hot rears. If you don't get the right traction, I hit the wall so many times. And that's a pretty valiant effort from Locker on the mediums, all fairness.
Very valiant effort, yeah. 3/10, just short of 3/10 quicker than David Lowface on the soft tyres there. So yeah, I imagine he'll come back in, bolt a set of softs on, and go back out. There's an AlphaTauri just ahead of him, and that's giving him a little bit of tow if he chooses to push again. I doubt it though. And his ERS levels down to 30% now then. Who else have we got on a quick lap at the moment? Liam Cornforth just gives a bit of a love tap to the wall there, coming through the final sector now, as we've just heard TJ's favourite sector in all of F1 2021. And he keeps it nice and tidy there. Ooh, a little bit of an outswinger there on the exit of the corner. Keeps it clean. No, he doesn't.
Ooh.
No, he doesn't.
I did exactly that in the league in Q3 and caused a massive accident on the start-finish line.
Well, he's crossed the line with a 38.8. I think he did it very sideways, but still goes into 3rd place with a 38.8. No front wing though, does well to keep it out the wall and continue in this session. My game appears to not let me switch out of cockpit cam. There we go. Don't know what happened there. It was on TV pod for a long time there, and oh no, it seems to be when I'm in spectator cam and it switches to T cam, it doesn't let me switch out of it, which is helpful. But LWS Yorkie, they're coming through the final sector now. Let's see how clean he can keep it, and whether he can keep it cleaner than Liam Cornforth managed to. As I mentioned, still went 3rd fastest, temporarily I should say, as Locker then goes faster with a 38.5 then in the Red Bull. Good effort from him there on those medium tyres, 9/10 shy of Collateral Ads. As we watch LWS Yorkie run out of ERS towards the end of the lap, crosses the line, but still goes 2nd fastest with a 37.4 for the Haas team then. There's only 6 drivers still with 6 minutes to go, TJ. Only 6 drivers have set a time, and we saw in Q1 4 drivers unable to set a time, and the best part of 5 is 6 drivers crashing out. Is this just a theme of this circuit? Is it just hard to get a clean lap in?
I think so. Yeah, I think for the first 2 sectors you can keep it nice and clean. But, you know, as I keep mentioning, going into sector 3 on part 3 years, and there's so many different corners where if you cut it just slightly, you get invalidated. I think that's just catching drivers out.
Yeah, invalidation, keeping it clean, really causing an issue for the drivers at the moment. Just over 5 minutes left to go in this session. Still 6 drivers yet to set a time, and as it stands, we'll only lose 2 drivers, of course, in this session. No one else retiring at the moment, or putting it in the wall, I should say. TJ keeping it very clean through the final set there. It looks slow but steady, but is it fast as he comes across the line for AlphaTauri? And it's a 38-1 then, as RSF1 Locker retires from session. I'm pretty sure it's in the pits, unless it's just very close to the pit lane in which he's crashed. But I think...
No, it is in the pits. Just seen him come in. That's interesting. I would have thought just like a set of softs on, just try to go back on, so maybe he's not too fussed about starting the top 10.
Yeah. Interesting, you'd probably say on a 38.5, if he was to put a set of softs on, he'd be getting himself through to Q3 then. Luke on 60 Hertz now. I think this is the first time we've seen him as well. I think he was checked in for a couple of races last week, but we didn't get to see him, unfortunately. Crosses the line, 38.5, to stick himself 5th fastest then. Interesting to see these new drivers in terms of their pace, of course. And I would have really, one driver I would have liked to have seen this session was Snedden, who seemed to have the pace in Q1, definitely, but unfortunately unable to show that pace in subsequent sessions after he crashed out in Q1. We're riding with Twins at the moment. He's just about to come through that corner. As I mentioned, I think it's turn 8. I'm pretty sure it's turn 8, could be turn 10. I could be wrong. I have no idea at this point. But it used to be the slingshot corner. Obviously, it used to throw multiple drivers into the wall. I miss it being that corner. I prefer it when it was that corner, to be honest with you. What about you, TJ? I don't know if it's one of your personal preferences, whether you prefer the sweeping left-hander or the 3 curbs that used to throw you into the wall. I just thought it was very unique to drive that part of the track.
No, I agree with you. I think and the slingshot corner is I do miss it. I do miss watching drivers go around it. I mean, perhaps given how fast the F1 cars are nowadays, they had to change it. just due to how it was.
Yeah, definitely. Just as I change, you go Rouge as well at Spa, and Twins crosses the line in 37.9 for the Alpine driver this evening. LWS Yorkie retires in the pit lane with a 37.4. That time from Twins should see him through into Q3 then, and there's 3 drivers still yet to set a time at the moment, looking to displace both David Lowface and Liam Cornforth, who's on an outlap. AMS Drive looks like he's left it till the last minute, and he's a driver, TJ, I think, that we're expecting to stick himself into first place.
Yeah, definitely. He's shown so much pace during the socials, even before the socials. He's shown he's got the pace in there, and you know, keep an eye on this guy in T1. He'll definitely be up there, fighting for the championship week in, week out.
Well, all I know and all I can say about him is that whenever he checks in, there's a collective groan, I think, from the other drivers. Every time they see his name pop up on that check-in for a race, I always get the same kind of messages. Oh, AMS Drive is racing, because they know he's just so quick. But we love having him here as Klustrack crosses the line. 37.3 from him, just shy of John Uwe, and AMS Drive, the driver we was just talking about, is the next one to cross the line, and there you go. I mean...
That's a fantastic laugh.
35.9. That is something else in terms of lap time, to have the confidence to do that with just a few minutes on the clock. Yeah, I mean, Now, I think I understand why the drivers give out a collective groan whenever he checks in for a race. David Lowface has invalidated this lap, but is starting another flying lap then. He's got 48% ERS. That should just about see him through till the end of his lap. I'd like to see how much time there is left, but the yellow flag was preventing that, and it's just over a minute then left of the session. So who's on a flying lap? They can still get themselves through. Adrian H then looks like he's not going to take any further part in the session. 12th place. Still in the pits. I don't know if he ever came out the pits. But it looks like he won't get a timing, so he's definitely out then. So there's just one more driver that will drop out. And I don't want to press you for a name here, TJ, but it looks like it's between Liam Cornforth, David Lowface, and RSF1 Locker.
Yeah, I mean, and this is no disrespect to him. I think he's a fantastic driver. I am going to miss him in Tier 2 next season for definite. But I think he has been struggling, and he has shown it in Q1, and perhaps Q2 he hasn't really shown the pace. But I'd have to say maybe David Lowface might miss out.
Well, there's just a couple of corners to find out, and just as you say that, TJ, he invalidates there. Through one of the corners. We have no idea what the number is at this point, but he does invalidate and find himself the 11th fastest driver then, and out in Q2, doing a few S's there as he comes into the pit lane. We got that for you, pal.
I do apologise, David.
Don't worry about that one.
I probably commentated Kirsty as well.
I did suggest you 3 names. You picked the one. I mean, you're accurate. At least you're accurate. If you want to say one thing about that prediction, it was definitely accurate, and unfortunately it is David Lowface in the Ferrari out in Q2, but I think, you know, he should be happy with that 11th place. It's a shame it's not a dry race, because obviously that's the best position in terms of strategy, but it is a wet one, as we are reliably informed then, as we wait for his car to be wheeled into the garage. And there you have it. There's your top 12, I should say, for Q2, not top 15 after the DNFs in Q1. There's an AMS Drive tops the session once again by over 1.3 seconds to Johnny Vane. That gap is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, that is. I think we are going to have to check your car at this point, AMS Drive, and we are going to have to.
Yeah,
there's got to be something going on there. Johnny Vane.
Got to be doing a Ferrari.
Definitely doing a Ferrari there. Johnny Vane, 2nd place. Valiant effort from him. 3rd, Klutschak. 4th, LWS Yorkie. 5th, Collateral Ads. 6th, Twins. T-Jerk, 7th. Luke on 60Hz, 8th. RSF1 Locker made it through on the medium tyres in 9th. Liam Cornforth in 10th. And the 2 drivers leaving us in Q2. David Lowface and Adrian H, who didn't set a time, unfortunately then. And we've got a short break before drivers get round for a lap in Q3. Let's go back to the switch chat and see what's going on there then. So Klutschak says he can't get a decent lap in. I think that was in relation to his Q1 effort there. We've got Lewis Mason. I was too busy watching the stream and forgot to turn. I think that was after Q1 where we went straight into the wall. Not advised to do that in the future, especially during a race. If you can't pay attention with the stream on, please turn the stream off. And we want the viewing figures, but yeah, safety first, I guess, on that one. Lewis 2636, who I should mention, is LWS Yorkie, who is taking part in this session. FIA needs to check his car. Let's just star it off. Assuming LWS Yorkie means the F word there, but I won't mention that on stream for our PG friendly audience. Yeah, I mean, with a 1.3 second gap in Q2, that is pretty ridiculous. My game is giving me some very strange camera angles at the moment. I don't know what's going on spectator-wise at the moment. There we go. We can finally find a car. Just about. You can press RB to ride on board with the drivers, but sometimes if they're already riding on board, it won't let me switch out, and it just gives me a weird TV cam. Really close up.
This game is perfect.
Yeah, I can't follow drivers through the bridge part of the track because it will gives me some funny camera angle. Anyway, oh, a big swapper there for T-Jerk as he keeps it in a straight line. Lewis Mason said he had a shocker. You did indeed. And Silverside Boy says, damn Xbox controller. Well, you know, Silverside Boy, he brought a wheel, you know, and kept it. Didn't return it. You might still be in the qualifying session. As we ride with AMS Drive, then there will be the first driver to complete a lap. So he's one of the last drivers to complete a lap in Q2, getting out there early to set a time in Q3. I've got a slight feeling he might just be showing off at this point and looking to do multiple runs in Q3, but we'll ride with his lap then, given he will be the first driver to set a time in TJ. I'm just watching his lap at the moment. He really is taking some speed through the corners. I know that's one part of the game where he can really make up time.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just commentated Kirsten to death there.
just as I was talking about that. He's a little bit out of shape. LWS Yorkie as well. Kids at the wall. I can't come out of cockpit cam. What is going on? Every time I press RB, it's just keeping me in cockpit. There we go. Finally. David Lowface was here right now. He'd be having a field day with his catchphrase of this game. It's perfect and has no bugs. Clearly it does, as it's not letting me pick very good camera angles for the viewers, unfortunately. LWS Yorkie then will now be the first driver to set a time following the mishaps of AMS Drive, unfortunately. Perhaps that's why he's gone out early. Perhaps he's still not feeling, you know, confident. He probably knows he's the favourite for pole at this point, but...
Oh, he's had a nightmare. He cut the last corner and then validated his lap he was on and his next lap.
Oh dear. From AMS Drive there as LWS Yorkie crosses the line to go provisionally fastest with a 39.2, but Twins then takes that away from him with a 38 flat. Ads then takes provisional pole with a 36.7, and Johnny Vane just crosses the line to go, I mean, 1500ths behind. It's a really good pace tonight from Johnny Vane. I'm really impressed with the pace of the Alfa Romeo driver tonight. He did okay in Q2, I should say. He's second fastest there. No AMS drivers well into the distance, but Johnny Vane, TJ, showing some real good pace.
Yeah, definitely. That scares me, that pace, because saying he's in tier 2 with us next season, and yeah, that's really scary pace. And you know, he was a fantastic driver last season as well. And yeah, watch this guy as well.
Yep, Johnny Vane touted as one of the most consistent drivers in Tier 2 at times, and definitely now perhaps showing a little bit of improvement in terms of speed as well. Just shy of Collateral Lads, we know, who's a very quick driver, especially over one lap in Tier 1. So good effort from Johnny Vane, as we mentioned. Luke on 60 Hz goes with a 138.2 to pop himself 5th fastest. Locker, who we saw get through on the medium tyres, in 6th then with a 38.4. Liam Cornforth in the pits. AMS Drive crossing the line, and now we'll start a flying lap, and let's see if we can avoid invalidating this one.
Yeah, we'll try and not commentate your case this time, AMS Drive. But yeah, as you mentioned, that the pace he carries through corners is unbelievable. He's got so hooked up, so much confidence, especially on the track where some of the corners a little mistake and you're in the wall.
Definitely. And Johnny Vane, as we mentioned, TJ, perhaps just confirming that pace there to go provisionally on pole ahead of Collateral Lads by just short of 2/10 then. really up there at the moment. I mean, you can look at the drivers in this session. There is a handful of drivers who have got some serious one-lap pace behind them. Clues Jack Collateral, as we know, very quick indeed. LWS Yorkie as well isn't short of pace over a single lap. Has perhaps set a representative one at the moment, but really good pace from Johnny Vane at the moment.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like I say, he was consistent last season. He's always showing the pace, and it's great that he's showing up some of these T1 drivers as well. It goes back to what we spoke about a couple of weeks, where the lines between the tiers are so close, and Junior Vane's just proven it there.
The lines are so close between tiers, and AMS Drive then comes off the final corner and comes into the pits.
He's definitely playing with the drivers. I've been on board with him throughout his lap in the set of sector 1 and 2. But he's fuel like come on just as he enters sector 3, so perhaps didn't fancy going back on a slow lap. But I think he's toying with the drivers at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching part of his lap, and in terms of his pace, it was definitely, enough to go fastest. As you said, perhaps just toying with the drivers slightly. Surely will come in and slap another set of softs on, a bit more fuel, and go back out again. Only one driver on a fast lap at the moment, Luke on 60 hertz then. Not too sure what the 60 hertz refers to. Be interesting to find out what the 60 hertz refers to. Luke on 60 hertz. Has backed off on his lap then, so will not improve on the 38.2 then. So TJ, it's that time of the stream, I think, to, especially this part of Q3, to get a name from you for pole position.
I mean,
you've been pretty accurate with predictions this evening.
I mean, I think there's only one driver out there if he can keep it clean, and I'd have to say it's got to be AMS Drive for pole.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you there. I think that was a pretty silly question, to be honest with you. After the Q2 running, but let's exclude him then. Let's say he doesn't get the lap together. Let's say he doesn't set a valid lap in Q3 and he starts 10th in the race. Who's best of the rest? Who do you think's going to do it then?
So, but it's a bit controversial again. I'm going to pick the top two, Junior Vane and Clout Lads. We know Clout Lads has got the pace. He is our 2x5 lapper champion after all. But for me, if AMS Drive doesn't set it, Junior Vane's got pole. That pace he set there is unbelievable, and I think he's probably still got a little bit more to give us as well.
I mean, if we look at the timings then, so I've just, for the benefit of the viewers anyway, just shown the gap between the field then. So you've got Collateral Lads just shy of 2/10 behind Johnny Vane, then Kluschak's a second back then in the AlphaTauri. Not able to get close at the moment to the top two drivers. Twins 1.5 seconds back, and then the field's a little bit close together down to LWS Yorkie, as we said, hasn't got any representative time together just yet, but the top two pace, yeah, I mean, I don't know if they just nailed the lap, but it is a gap between second and third is almost a second at the moment. Do you expect that to close up? I mean, we know Kluschak's a very quick driver. Do you think he can get amongst the top two at the moment?
I think given how much qualifying's gone through Q1 and 2, I don't think he'll close that gap. Maybe he'll go down to maybe a 1:37.2, maybe 1. But I can't see him getting any closer than that to Battle Lads, to be honest. And that's a disrespect to Klutz Jack, he's a fantastic driver. I just don't think the other drivers got his hooked up to top two have currently.
Yeah, definitely the times would lend itself to perhaps having that opinion. LWS Yorkie then will be the first driver to set a flying lap then, and 1.2 seconds quicker through that sector 2 cut-off mark, very close to the wall there, right on the limit here, the Haas driver, as he comes from the final sector. Now I've got to be careful not to invalidate over these curbs. Make sure he doesn't run wide again. Runs out of ERS before the end of the lap, but he was still quick in Q2 despite doing that, and he pops himself third fastest then with a 36.9, much more representative of his pace. And Johnny Vane crosses the line to start his first flying lap, and Klutzjak then, TJ, as we just mentioned, sticks it provisionally on pole with a 36.5 1 then. And now adds...
I mean, where does this pace come from?
Crosses the line and sets a 36-1. The Ferrari driver. Khrushchev has crashed out. There he is. He'll take no further part in Q3. I don't think he would have done anyway.
Crossing the line. Oh, wow. I mean, we both said it, but a 1:35.6. That is the gap isn't as big as it was in Q2, but what a lap for AMS Drive.
Yep, 35.6 from AMS Drive, absolutely brilliant over the line there. So we did keep it clean then as the timer ticks us out of Q3 then. And Johnny Vane will be the next driver across the line for Alfa Romeo. Can he get anywhere amongst perhaps second and third place? Sure, he'd love to be close to Collateral Lads, but that time from the Ferrari driver I think surprised me slightly as well. It was a brilliant lap from him to go second fastest. Johnny Vane then looks a little bit tardy through the final corner. Now comes around a sweeping right, left-hander I should say, across the line and does go second fastest.
I mean, wow. Yeah, given how he's been pushing Collateral Lads, that doesn't surprise me. In that Collateral Lads improved and he's improved. What a fantastic lap from the T2 driver that is.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah, from Johnny Vane. He's just found so much pace there. Unbelievable. We've now got T-Jerk about to come across the line. He does. He stays 10th fastest. The Ferrari shortly behind him. We knew he weren't going to improve there. Liam Cornforth then. What can he do in the Aston Martin? Can't improve either. So it's Twins who'll be next over the line. 8/10 up at the moment. And pips LWS Yorkie then to 5th place as AMS Drive comes across the line. And yeah, I mean, you called it, TJ. AMS Drive kept it clean in the end. According to my graphic, at the very least, he had to take 2 runs though. His tyres taking a little bit more punishment than the rest, only by a lap, but it won't make any difference from the race, depending what set it was, because we are tipped to have a wet race there. But I think for me, the star of qualifying there, yeah, I think you'll agree with me, Johnny Vane, second fastest for Alfa Romeo, then just short of half a second back from AMS Drive, who we know has phenomenal pace over the rest of the field. Collateral Lads in third then, very good time from him as well, take nothing away from a 36-1 for the Ferrari driver. Khrushchev fourth in the AlphaTauri Twins, 5th for Alpine, good effort from him as well. The Tier 2 driver for next season, beating LWS Yorkie to 5th place. Luke on 60 Hz in 7th, Liam Cornforth 8th, 9th RSF1 Locker, and 10th T-Jerk for the AlphaTauri then. So, TJ, I think as I mentioned, I know my star of qualifying there was Johnny Vane. Don't know about yourself personally.
I mean, you know, not to copy you, but yeah, Johnny Vane was my star of qualifying there. You know, don't get me wrong that Collateral Lads and AMS Drive put fantastic laps in, but Johnny Vane, Tier 2 driver, what a lap to get P2.
Definitely, what a lap to stick that car, that Alfa Romeo onto the front row for the race. A wet start as well, so a different challenge now for the driver, and I think it probably goes back to what you said, TJ, in terms of the setups now. Obviously some drivers predicting a wet race, perhaps altering the setup slightly to sacrifice that dry pace in qualifying, as someone has very helpfully pressed the A button, unless that's a countdown for people loading into the lobby, in which I apologise. I have no idea.
I think it's been called out on. It's been called out on Discord. The Luke on 60 Hz is ready up.
Absolutely fantastic, and he has indeed. So the cars are going to get underway. That's very helpful. Luke on 60 Hz, retiring on track, I believe, and readying up. It's not fantastic for your first race in FPRL. Please reread the rule book, young sir. and take note of the rules in there. So, the drivers are underway. It is full wet conditions. At least the graphic at the bottom of the screen said it was going to be full wets throughout. I know that lies at times though. We might see inters towards the end. And TJ, I mean, this track in the dry is terrible at the best of times. In the wet, I mean, surely we're going to see some havoc here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm recalling on that league race in Tier 2 here. It starts off dry and the wet and the rain come towards the end of the race, to be honest. And even on the intermediate drivers, even on the intermediate tyres, sorry, drivers were spinning left, right and centre and crashing into walls. So, yeah, this is going to be carnage come offline here.
Carnage off the line indeed. So we have got at the moment 20 drivers. Oh, as I say that, we've got 2 that have been disqualified from the formation lap. Again, Luke on 60 Hz. If you are watching the stream back, please reread the rulebook ahead of next season. No excuses at this point. Let's run through the grid then as the drivers enter Sector 3. So in 20th place, Henkas for Williams. 19th, Lewis Mason in the Mercedes. TS9 for Haas in 18th. Those 3 drivers unable to set a time in Q1, along with FaZe Ironboy, who has been disqualified from the formation lap. Mongo in 16th then wasn't quite quick enough in Q1 to make it through to the second part of qualifying. Then Dean in 15th, Silverside Boy 14th, Snedden in 13th. Those 3 drivers crashing out in Q1 to take no further part in qualifying. So it was Adrian in 12th who made it through to Q2 but was unable to set a time there for Alfa Romeo. David Lowface we lost in Q2, unfortunately unable to pick the slide into Q3, I should say, with his pace. Perhaps he'll show a little bit more wet pace though, as there's a big gap in the field between the Mercedes of Mongo, I think. No, it's the Mercedes of Mongo, yeah. I mean, all the drivers seem to be jumbled up at the moment, to be honest with you. Even the outlap in the formation lap proving difficult for the drivers. T-Jerk in 10th for AlphaTauri, 9th, RSF1 Locker, 8th, Liam Cornwall, 7th, Luke on 60 Hz, reread the rulebook, young man. LWS Yorkie in 6th, Twins, 5th place, Kluschak, 4th, Collateral Lads in the star of qualifying, Johnny Vane in 2nd place. Has he also got the pace in the wet? AMS Drive with the phenomenal dry pace. TJ, I think I took the lead last week under the lights, so I'm going to let you do it this week if you want to call the 5 lights.
Yeah, and the 5 lights are up and the drivers go, and AMS Drive gets a good start as the drivers a snail pace off the grid. With no surprise, but AMS Drive's got away really cleanly. Oh, there's been an accident. Snedden's out. He's out the race with a load of drivers have been handing 5-second penalties.
Safety car is out, as we can see on the screen. There's a Mercedes with no front wing. I think it was Lewis Mason and Snedder that come together. A shed load of penalties being issued. But I mean, you have to give them a bit of leeway with that one, with the conditions at Singapore. Yeah, I mean, a lot of drivers would not have been hoping for these conditions. 10 seconds, 5 seconds throughout the grid then. As you mentioned, Snedden out of the session. I think Lewis Mason might have clipped him off the line. That's why he's got no front wing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the race director, and Lewis Mason got a double penalty for severe collision with Snedden.
Yeah, it was probably the shortest start in history. I think the driver got to about lap 4 and the safety car came straight out then. And it will wait for AMS Drive, who retained the lead off the start then. So let's have a look if I can remember how to do it. There we go. The position change amongst the field then. Top 4 remain the same. LWS Yorkie making up a place on Twins, the big gainer from that start. Adrian H up to 7th from his starting place of 12th. Then Liam Cornforth remains 8th. Well, Aston Martin, T-Dirk on place, Silverside Boy as well, up 4. Unfortunately, there has a penalty, we'll get to that shortly. Locker down 2, FaZe Ironboy up 5 as well as Adrian. Good start from both of those drivers. Luke on 60 Hz losing 7 places. I dare to say that's karma, unfortunately, for him. David Lowface losing 2 places to 13th. Mongo, TS9, Henkas all making up places, but I'm assuming, TJ, that's because of the collision. I don't know if you caught anything else off that start, but I'm pretty sure we expected some sort of collision off the line there.
Yeah, we did. I was concentrating on the main front 2 spaces they got off the line, but I saw the drivers getting away a bit of a snail pace, and it looked like all of them got close together. So yeah, there was no doubt there was going to be contact and drivers spinning. A bit unfortunate for Snedden. You know, he set a fantastic lap in Q1, crashed himself out, and then doesn't make it past turn 1. Really unfortunate, Snedden. But looking forward to seeing you race in the league race next Wednesday.
Yeah, that's if not, it will be another day, because I think Snedden's pace in Q1 was absolutely phenomenal, and yeah, unfortunately we've not got to see more of the driver since those early laps in Q1, but it'll be nice to see him race in the league next week. Unfortunately, a victim of the poor weather off the start then. So as I mentioned, we'll go back to the penalties then. Twins on 5 seconds, the highest driver in the field to have a penalty. He has a 5-second penalty. Silverside Boys teammate also with a 5-second penalty. TJ, I don't know if you can confirm for me, but I'm pretty sure these will all be for collisions. David Lowface, Luke on 60Hz, TS9, Mongo, Lewis Mason are all with 5 seconds as well. The Mercedes drivers propping up the field, I think, after having to make a pit stop. I'm pretty sure, as I said, TJ, they're all for collisions. If you can have a quick look at the race director.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right, and it's TJ's guinea pigs. Go on, mad one.
Yeah, apologies if you hear the squeaking in the background. I don't know what they're squeaking at, but yeah, they went on mad one. But yeah, all the penalties from the collisions. 3 drivers got penalties for the severe collision with Snedden. And there's just various ones with Davey got hit, Luke got hit, DJ, Klutz, Jack, Mongo, TS9 all got hit.
Yeah, even TJ's guinea pigs can't believe the standard that we've seen off the line. I think I heard them shouting something about Luke on 60Hz there as well, to be honest with you. So the head steward has trained his guinea pigs well. And
yeah,
they
were definitely shouting the boys should be reading the rule book again, and a chat will definitely be coming his way.
TJM ruling with the iron fist, as we love to see. No nonsense in this league. Twins is losing places, and that's because he's in the pit lane for some strange reason. Let's have a look to see what's going on with him, as we've not got much going on track. And it's for a new front wing. And to serve his 5-second penalty as well, so that would get rid of that. He'll come to the back of the field, I'm pretty sure, gets a new front wing for good measure, as I was saying, and will rejoin in 19th place. But he gets rid of his penalty, which could be crucial later on in the race. He actually won't be last, it'll be Lewis Mason that's still right at the back, unable to catch up with the crocodile of the safety car at the moment then. So, it's probably a good time to stream, isn't it, TJ? The David Lowface sponsor of the week.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
To you and by David Lowface, as always, on FPRL streams. You will hear his fantastic tones tomorrow evening in the Tier 1 priority race, joined by Silverside Boy in commentary. As I said, TJ, the sponsor of the week, David Lowface's bevy of the week. I think the sponsorship was probably forced on him, to be fair, by his co-commentators, but it's now become a thing. I don't know if he likes it or not, I'm assuming he does. But we make him sound like an alcoholic, to be honest, at this stage. I'm sure he's not an alcoholic. I know he likes a Cobra with his curry, that's about it. But yeah, bevy of the week then, TJ, so what have we gone for this week?
I've been really boring tonight, and I'm just drinking water.
Oh, Christ. The chat are watching at the moment. Can we please get,
I do apologise.
Can we get an F in the chat, please, for TJ's bevy of the week, please? Anybody watching, let's just get an F in the chat. TJ's baby of the week is water. I think we just leave it there, to be honest, TJ. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
He's gone
we'll
for
just
water.
leave it there. We'll just leave it there.
He's clearly got an early start in the morning. As he's on the water.
So hopefully your bevy of the week's better. So what's your bevy?
I'm on the raspberry vodka this week. Nice bit of raspberry vodka. Bit of lemonade in there. Lovely stuff. Safety car in. It's a late call, as we love to see sometimes on the F1 2021 game. And AMS Drive indeed will eventually get us underway. Oh, and he looks like he's got a little bit out of shape there. The game's giving me awful camera angles, but we've cut back then to the front of the pack. AMS Drive does indeed keep first place. Kluczak then gaining up to second place, it looks like at the moment, fighting with Johnny Vane for that second place, side by side through turn 2 then, and they've kept it clean, and Johnny Vane slipped back to 4th place then, unfortunately. Ads also getting ahead of the Finnish driver then, down to 4th place now. Johnny Vane, as I mentioned, AMS Drive keeping the lead off the start. LWS Yorkie up to 5th place as well. Liam Cornforth up to 6th place at the moment. The Aston Martin driver doing a good job at the moment. TJ, have you seen anything further back in the pack?
Yeah, so there's a massive gap between David Loveface and Silverside Boy. I think Silverside Boy might have been caught sleeping on the restart. But yeah, there's a massive gap between the drivers. I imagine Silverside Boy will try to close that gap up, but it'll be really hard in these wet conditions.
Yeah, as you can see the interval there, 3 seconds between the two drivers. T-Jerk seemed to have fallen out of the pack as well. We were watching the battle in front when something happened there to the AlphaTauri driver.
He, for some reason, as a safety car, as the restart happened, and he's just spun it and lost his front wing. I'm sorry, TJ. But yeah, he come into the pits and put a new front wing on, and he's gonna have to come back in anyway now to put another new front wing on.
Well, interesting call there from TJ. I don't know whether he got a little bit too close to somebody under safety car. I didn't see any 5-second penalty dished out, so perhaps he just hit the wall slightly. There is a virtual safety car though, which effectively neutralises the field then. They all have to drive to a delta, as I'm sure viewers know as F1 fans. Obviously you can gain slightly from that delta time. I think the virtual safety car will come in by the time TJ gets round to the pit lane, unfortunately for him. So a good time to go through the order then. So yeah, AMS Drive keeps the lead off the start. About 1.7 seconds the gap between him and Kluczak. At the moment, Collateral Lads in 3rd place for the Ferrari. Johnny Vane in 4th, LWS Yorkie 5th. Liam Cornforth is surprising me at the moment. 6th place for him. He seems to be having a fine race at the moment. RSF1 Locker 7th for Red Bull. FaZe Ironboy 8th. Adrian H in 9th. David Loveface in 10th. And I think we're back green and underway as I got down to 10th place there. So let's see. Down to turn 4 now then. Let's see who can profit from that withdrawal of the virtual safety car. It doesn't look like we're going to see any moves down to this corner. My fear, TJ, is that we see sometimes with these wet races that the field gets so spread apart that we don't see too much action. So hopefully we don't see that today.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of already happened that FaZe Ironboy is pulling back behind RFS1 Locker, and the little gaps appeared above the grid. I was just on board with David Loveface, who was literally pushing Adrian around the corners. So pick that one, Adrian, that David Loveface is wanting to get past, and he is quick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just right on board with David Loveface. It looks like Adrian's ghosted and in fact disconnected. But I think he's AI. Pretty sure he's AI. I've not heard anything to do with him being AI, but it looks like he is, as Lewis Mason is around at whatever number corner that is before the DRS straight, but no DRS in the wet conditions, of course. And as I mentioned the DRS then, TJ, I want to talk about the overtaking opportunities around Singapore. I can't imagine without the DRS we're going to see too much overtaking, to be honest with you. I know there's a couple of straights, but I mean, I just can't see. I can't see the drivers getting the traction to be able to make a move on other drivers.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Normally, I should say the DRS zones are the best overtaking opportunities. And without DRS, yeah, you know, it's drivers won't get the traction. The only overtaking we're going to see is if a driver does unfortunately make a mistake and either has to correct himself how much he comes to a stop or spins it.
Yeah, definitely.
As David Lawface has just made a move on Adrian.
Adrian's AI unfortunately unable to keep up with the Lawface then as he moves up into 9th place as a yellow flag out. It has been withdrawn and back to green then for whoever spun there. TS9 in the pits. Ooh, Phase Iron Boy's just clouted the wall as he got any front wing damage. We just saw it right. Oh, he seems to have some connection issues as well actually. I'm not sure what's going on with Phase Iron Boy at the minute. I don't know if you can see this, TJ. He seems to be ghosting quite a bit compared to the rest of the drivers and jumping about all over the place.
Yeah, it's definitely some sort of connection issue, that is, I'd say. One to take... Oh, okay, he's just spun it. Yeah, that's one to take note of, that he needs his connection testing, I'd say.
Yeah, it looks like it. To me, anyway. I'm sure people watching the stream might have seen that as well, TJ. No one in the chat putting an F for your choice of water, by the way, so everyone else agrees. Hydrate, feel great, clearly. Bit of H2O. Clearly is the right choice for a Wednesday evening. I'm just a big alcoholic, clearly. As AMS Drive with a 1:57.7, just showing the difference in lap times compared to the dry conditions, and so that was, I mean, what was his 22 seconds slower, something like that? Was it 1:35 he managed to set in the end?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Jimmy Vane's had a bit of an issue, and I think this is why the other folks come out in the last lap. He's come in the pits for a new front wing. Didn't look at front wing damage, but it must have been enough for it.
Yeah, graphically, sometimes T-Jerk has retired then, and it is a safety car. Whoa, perhaps just at the right time for Johnny Vane then.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could look at two ways. It's probably the wrong and right time for him. But if he can come to the back of the pack now, and you know, he's definitely got the pace to try attempt to overtake. So maybe we'll get a bit of action on track.
Yeah, he's showing the pace in the dry, perhaps showing a little bit of inconsistency in the wet with that front wing change then. But I mean, like you said, I mean the front wing looked completely intact. I know graphically on this game sometimes it lies slightly, and I mean even the slightest knocked off front wing in these conditions would really throw you off. So I'm sure he had no choice other than to come into the pits then, as we have our second safety car, as we mentioned, of the evening. T-Jerk dropping it. His AMS Drive just had an issue there. I don't know if he was massively over the delta and slowed up.
I think he was massive with delta because he just slammed his brakes on and stood still on the track for a minute or two.
Yeah, I thought he was just sat still. Yeah, he must have been massively over the delta. So luckily, pulls it inside. Delta, of course, he would have been given a drive-through otherwise, which I think Klutschak would have cheered on from behind his steering wheel. Anyway, so it's a good time to look at the change for the drivers at the moment then. You can see Klutschak has made up 2 places after starting 4th, up to 2nd place for the AlphaTauris. Collateral Lads is in the pits then. So from 3rd place, Collateral Lads into the pits. Let's see if he needs a new front wing as well. He does. So another driver then opting to use the safety car to change their slightly damaged front wing then. So he drops right down the pack now. He's going to come out. Is he going to get out ahead of the Mercedes of Mongo? No, I don't think so. He's going to come out in 13th. Yeah, 13th place. I think he'll just get out ahead of Lewis Mason. So it is indeed 13th place for the Ferrari driver then. So that, as you mentioned, TJ, with Johnny Vane dropping down and now Collateral Lads down to 13th, that should surely give us some action for the rest of this race.
Yeah, definitely. You know, both drivers are pacing dry. even when we had a bit of racing between the safety cars, the guys are pulling ahead in the top four. So you've got the pace. It's just a case of can they get the moves on at the right times, because you won't have the traction in the corners that you necessarily want in the last.
Yep, definitely. In the field, quite spread out at the moment still, so I expect to see another couple of laps of safety car, at least for the drivers at the back to close up. There's quite a big gap between Lewis Mason and Janu Vane, but 14 seconds. So AMS Drive still leads, as I was going through the gainers then at the moment. So with ads dropping down at the moment. Ooh!
Oh no!
Here's to a Yorkie, but Yorkie's not got a pen, but Kluschak has.
I'm not quite sure how that works. Unless the game thought he slammed his brakes on and brake checked Lewis, it's like LWS Yorkie. I'm not quite sure Yorkie's got away with that.
Well, Collateral has now got a corner cutting penalty under safety car conditions. What is going on here? I think we expected this given the track and the weather conditions. I'm just intrigued to see whether Yorkie's going to come into the pits. He doesn't, so it doesn't look like he got any front wing damage, hopefully for him, in that contact with Kluschak. It'll be interesting to see if we can get a bit of insight into what happened there. Like I said, Kluschak only getting the penalty, not Yorkie then, so the game seems to have decided that Kluschak at fault for that contact under safety car. So Kluschak spike gaining 2 places now, carrying that 5-second penalty. LWS Yorkie up 3 to 3rd. Liam Cornforth again just seems to be keeping it clean at the moment. The Aston Martin driver up to 4th place. Locker as well, and David Lowface for good measure. 4, 5 and 6 at the moment. Liam Cornforth, Locker and David. Very good racing from those drivers at the moment, keeping it clean. We know David prides himself on his clean driving. 6th place at the moment, I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Let's see how far he can take that into the race. Silverside Boy behind him though. We know he's a quick driver as well. He's made up 7. Henkas, driver at the moment, from 20th on the grid up to 8th for Williams. Adrian and Dean making up 3 and 5 places respectfully then. So the big losers, yeah, TJ, it's Adson, Janu Vane and Luke on 60 Hz at the moment. Drivers we've all seen had mishaps in terms of front wings. And surely, as we've mentioned, we are going to see some action here from those 3 drivers.
Yeah, I mean, I hope all drivers keep it nice and clean as the safety car goes away. I mean, this could be a late safety car restart again from Michael Massey. You know, he loves calling in safety car nice and late and when he feels like it.
I wonder how many times we're going to hear that this season. How many times we're going to hear about Michael Massey's late safety car. TJ, a huge Max Verstappen fan, I should point out at this point, so went very well in his favour. To say
Max Verstappen, world champion.
Big Max Verstappen fan. He hates. I use the word hate. It's a strong word. You dislike Lewis Hamilton slightly compared to Max Verstappen anyway. As the safety car is indeed coming in, and it is a slightly late call again, so it doesn't seem like it's called it where it should have done after the 2nd sector. But we saw AMS Drive, he got a little bit out of shape on the restart last time, but he did manage to hold that 1st place. It'd be interesting to see if he can do something similar here. TJ, if you want to take the drivers away for the restart.
Yep, so AMS Drive goes away. It looks like Kluschak straight into the pits. Yuki stayed out, so that's great news. All the drivers that have gone now, it's been getting away here. Liam Cornforth drops to place, and Mongo's out. Mongo is out. I'm not quite. He's spun it. He's hit the wall in the pit. He's hit the pit wall.
Off the final corner, then yellow flag out. No safety car at the moment. I'm hoping Dean set a reduced safety car, so we won't see one now after the safety car just come in to the pit lane. Mongo, yeah, spun it, stuck it into the pit wall. Liam Cornforth did the same. I don't know if he got away with no damage though. He seemed to hit the wall pretty hard from 4th place. Locker now up to 3rd place for Red Bull. Brilliant performance so far from your fellow Stokey there, TJ.
Yeah, big up the Stokies. He's on a fantastic drive in the Red Bull. Putting a nice gap between him and David Locker. It's David Locker. David Boniface. Looking to keep on the back of York, I imagine. But keeps it nice and clean for me, and no incidents. He's got himself a nice podium.
Yep, still a long way to go, of course. 22 laps to go. Lewis Mason picks up another 3-second penalty. We've just watched Twins and Dean getting very close for comfort. In fact, there's 4 drivers here, all very close on the track at the moment. Henkas has lost a couple of places off the start as well. Collateral seems to have made up a little bit of ground up to 9th place as well. Same with Johnny Vane as well at the moment. TJ, I think you've been playing too much Yu-Gi-Oh! As you fused David Lowface with RSF1 Locker there, who picks up a 3-second penalty. As I mentioned there, David Locker with a 3-second penalty.
You'll love that commentator's curse. I did joke with him before the race saying we were commentator cursing. And you've done it. You've commentator cursing. Well done, buddy.
We have. We have commentators cursing Johnny Vane pick up a 3-second penalty as well. I think it's inevitable. I think we're going to see a lot of drivers with those kinds of penalties by the end of the race. And Silverside Boy right behind David Lowface in the Ferrari then. And unfortunately the drivers in the wet conditions obviously can't see when the others are harvesting energy. It's always difficult to run out of ERS in the wet conditions, of course, but we can see the ERS conditions up here in the commentary box, and obviously every driver after the safety car restart still with plus 90 at the moment, but Silverside Boy with a slipstream here and down into turn 4, a little bit later on the brakes over the Ferrari driver, slips up the inside and he's into 4th place, and I don't think David Lowface there protested that move too hard by Silverside Boy, and perhaps Silverside Boy looking for a podium from this position now.
Yeah, definitely. I love what Silverside Boy. He had a fantastic event in our 5-lap event. It happened last Sunday. Managed finished P3 overall. I think he managed get himself on the podium 4 times. Apologies if I've got that wrong, Silverside Boy. But he had a fantastic drive, and as my guinea pigs agree with that one again.
The guinea pigs are off on one. The guinea pigs are the biggest fan of Silverside Boy, it seems. They love a bit of the Gaznado in 4th place at the moment. And can he close the gap to RSF1 Locker then? Bit of a boring fight out in front at the moment. AMS Drive 4.7 seconds now ahead of LWS Yorkie then. This is the closest fight on track at the moment as we just cut to an onboard there. Ads getting very close for comfort to the wall and loses out on a place to Henkaz, who gets through and into 9th place then. As I mentioned, very close to comfort there. Again, his front wing looks intact, graphically at least. Does he come into the pits? No, he doesn't. Then he continued and got away with that slight brush of the wall then at the moment. For now, anyway, he's still on the back of Henkas. Twins pushing Dean along the road at the moment, and Dean pushing Liam Cornforth along the road at the moment. The big train here, but again, no DRS makes overtaking so much more difficult.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I say I'm surprised. We hoped that, you know, Clark Ladd and Junior Vane being so far back, we might see their action, but as TS9's just dropped it, as he comes off turn 4, safety car's out.
3rd safety car of the evening in 12 laps. Fantastic. I totally expected it. It's Singapore in the wet, and he's completely the wrong way there as Klustrack drives past him. Luke on 60 hertz. I'm not sure about reading the FPRL rulebook. Perhaps read the F1 rulebook after speeding on the safety car drive through for the McLaren driver. He's had a horrible event today. Yeah, also a drive-through to wreck his race even further then. So, a drive-through for him. It's a good time to talk about the other penalties of drivers in the field. So, if I can remember how to find penalties, I can. There we go. Locker with 3 seconds, Silverside Boy 5, David Lawface with 5 as well, Class Lads with 3, Phase Iron Boy 6 at the moment. Johnny Vane, the pace setter of tier 2 guys, qualifying with 3 seconds down in 12th place. Luke on 60 hertz, forgetting how to drive both in the league and behind the safety car with a drive-through penalty. Then Lewis Mason at 11 seconds for the Mercedes. So it's a good time to go to the chat and see if
AMS driver's just come in the pits. He's putting intermediates on.
Well, that is a brave call. I was going to go to the Twitch chat, but I think TJ will discuss this for a moment. Of course, AMS Drive going on to the intermediates and looking at the weather, at least graphically. We can't see, obviously, any deltas or anything like that, or any forecasts. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on now behind the safety car here. It's a very brave call from the leader.
Yeah, definitely. There's Dean and Lee and Cornforth also coming for intermediate, so the drivers are seeing something that we're not seeing, because as you mentioned on stream, the rain still looks like it's coming down pretty heavy. And I personally would put intermediates on for all these conditions. So yeah, the drivers have seen something different to us, and we all have a good Jeff in our ear. Maybe he's telling the drivers it's time that the switch happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, TJ, but I don't want anyone called Jeff in my ear anytime soon. Don't know if that's a pseudonym there that you've just used, but I get what you mean anyway. Yeah, of course. I mean, the engineer might have just called the intermediates, and perhaps some of the drivers not taking the risk, but it seems strange that AMS Drive, who was so far out in front, has taken that risk to come in on the intermediate tyres. He seems to be negotiating the corners okay at the moment. There's a little bit of a gap in the field at the minute as well. So, I'm assuming the safety car will stay out for another lap here. I mean, even if they have got this right, do you think they can take those intermediates till the end at this point of the race if they are going to stay on them?
I mean, if the track's drawn up the way it is, then I can't see how they can, because it'll be dry. It'll be like driving on ice, because the tires will just be slicks.
You didn't want to say driving on ice, then you wanted to say dancing on ice.
Yeah,
that's we love that.
Ice. Yeah.
He
caught me out.
He loves a bit of dancing on ice. I know you've used that analogy before. He loves a bit of dancing on ice, a bit of Torval and Dean over here. TJM loves in the commentary box. As we've got FaZe Ironboy into the pits, and as I mentioned, AMS Drive seems to be okay behind the safety car in the intermediates at the moment. We'll see what he's like at racing speed. He's pulled right over to the left hand side of the pit straight there, perhaps just cooling the tyres slightly there, but there doesn't seem to be a dry line at the minute on the track. That's why it surprised me so much with selecting the Inters, but perhaps they think it could work. As I mentioned, we'll go to the Twitch chat. Not an awful lot going on, unfortunately, despite the viewers that we have. So if everyone in the chat could just give us a wave or something to talk about, or perhaps tell us what the track conditions are like, because obviously we can only see from up here, but you guys driving it at the moment. And so we've got TS9, Luke retired on track, assuming qualifying maybe, not retired from the race. We've also got TS9 at the start, 60 hertz, weaving all over the place. Each time I got close, mint, nice one. That sums up that pretty well. The mint, nice one there. Then Luke telling him to shush. Thanks, Luke. Too sure you're in a position to say shush there, but let's think about that after the race. And we've got Brookie Nani Messi, Tier 1 driver, in the chat. Evening, boys. Good evening to you. Brookie, as I know TJ like to say Brookie.
Good old Brookie.
Brookie
Good
Nani
old
Messi.
Brookie.
Brookie Nani Messi. Good evening to you, Brookie Nani Messi. Thank you for joining us this evening then. So, we surely will be back on the way now. There's an AlphaTauri a little bit back at the moment in Luke's Jack. Safety car stay out another lap. I'm assuming the intermediate drivers would love the safety car to stay out another lap. If it does come in, it is going to be a late call. Brookie Messi says, good old TJ. I'm surprised he's not called you a melt. I know he likes to do that every so often. Safety car isn't coming in, it would seem.
He won't call me a melt because he knows he's the biggest melt in the league. That's why.
He's the biggest melt in the league. In fact, TJ, he thinks he's matured. He thinks he's moved on.
Nah.
He's moved on from calling you a melt. He's he's grown up at the ripe old age of 15, 16 now, however old he is. He's grown up. And
I'm proud of you, Brookie.
Luke 60 Hertz says yes. Well, he says yes. I'll try and read it in whatever accent he has. Yes, shush. Been a cracking race. Not sure it's been the best race for you, my friend, but we'll see where you finish up at the end and into next week, I should say. Probably. TS9, focus on your race and not the stream. Star. Yeah, cracking race for you. When you weaving. Why not read out the drama on stream? We've got nothing else to talk about at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just warn the drivers just to keep it a little bit calm, please. And we're take it to the end, just going to have a chat. No doubt we will have a chat and deal with any culprits as we see fit. But please do keep it clean, keep it nice. We are a PG stream after all.
We are a PG stream unless David Lowface is streaming, in which he swears on accidentally on multiple occasions. As Will6592, track is bad to drive on, but great to spectate. Well, you know, you have to get the balance right sometimes. Thank you for that, Will. I have to agree with you there, really, especially in the wet. I mean, in the dry it's bad enough to drive as a driver, but in the wet it's even worse. But as you said, great to spectate as we're just about to tick into half distance. It has been a great race so far.
I mean, what's going to be interesting on this sorry to jump in with you there, Biddle.
That's right.
But I was going to say what's going to be interesting on the safety car restart is if the track is dry enough for these intermediate tyres, in reality AMS Drive and all the other intermediate drivers are going to have the better traction here. So we could see some really good action.
We could see some good action. I was just making that noise because I was a little bit concerned AMS Drive was going to get a 5-second penalty from Luke going into the back of him there. But it looks like Luke is the only driver to pick up the penalty again. So it looks like he has got away with it. And plenty of drivers peeling into the pits there in a restart then, TJ. So perhaps they are thinking intermediate tyres.
Yeah, I'm surprised the guys haven't done it earlier, like on the last lap. What these drivers can do is lose out. Junivain's retired as he dropped it. No, Junivain is retired in the pits.
Junivain's had enough, unfortunately. It would seem the Finnish driver retires in the pit lane as he should do. Silverside Boy now all over the back of RSF on Locker and TJ. I'm looking at the weather. It does look like it's eased off then. So surely the intermediate tyres now. Has AMS Drive played an absolute blinder in terms of strategy here? And fitted into at the best time.
Yeah, I mean, just on that one corner, he's just gained 4 attempts on collateral lads. So the pace is high, he's got the traction. I think he's playing an absolute world here. Same as the other drivers, not like Dean. He's only 2 seconds behind. No, 3-4 seconds behind AMS Drive. I think any of the guys that put the intermediates on before the safety car come in are playing an absolute world here.
Have indeed. David Lowface, LWS Yorkie, Liam Corforth all have pitted then for the intermediate tyres after the safety car restart. As you said, this man, AMS Drive, surely has played a worldie here in 6th place. It's the net lead as the weather improves, and the 5 drivers ahead of him surely going to come into the pits here. Twins and Silverside Boy, though, TJ, are on the same team here. And will one of the drivers lose out because of this? Because they have to go around again, or will they double stack?
No, I don't. I think they lose more time by stacking. I think one of the drivers will have to go round. Oh, Oh, lads have just lost it under the bridge.
Oh, this... trying to keep up with what's going on. He's ghosted. I don't think he took anyone else out there. He just took himself out of the running. So yeah, down to 11th and collateral. I think he was going to pit anyway, but more time there.
And it is just Silverside Boy who pits Twins has gone round again then.
Yeah, so Twins will definitely lose out here. Obviously a little bit of accident slowed on AMS drive, but the traction he's going to have out of these corners now, I'd imagine he's going to close that 4-second gap pretty quickly here.
Be interesting information and data to definitely see now how much time Twins loses compared to Silverside Boy now on an outlap on his intermediate tyres. I'm assuming it's going to be an awful lot of time here in Twins' race. Ruined. In fact, a lot of the drivers' race is ruined then that didn't fit those intermediates. Only a few drivers brave enough, TJ, and you have to say, and barring any other safety cars, those calls to go to the intermediates might have just got a few surprise podiums, if not high points finishes in there for some drivers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know AMS driver's a fantastic driver, but within a sector and a half, he's just closed the 4-second gap to be on the back of Twins' gearbox. So 20's race has definitely been ruined here.
Indeed it has. I think it's around, about 20, mid-20s for a pit stop round here. Silverside Boy 31 seconds back from the leader supposedly at the moment. I don't know if
Clutch is out.
Yeah, Clutch track out then. And the safety car is out. Wow.
That is just, I mean, that has happened at the perfect time for Twins.
Absolutely unbelievable look there for Twins then out in front. So Kluszczak, yeah, out. Let's just see where he's dropped it. He's got a little bit wide. Oh, he's facing the wrong. How's he managed that? He's facing the wrong way.
I mean, from the looks of it, I think there was a couple of drivers really close. I think it was FaZe Ironboy, Dino, and Kluszczak. I think I saw Kluszczak overtake Dino, but then an accident happened going into the corner, which resulted in Klutz, unfortunately, DNFing. So I wonder if he tried to go maybe 3 wide into that corner.
Potentially, Twins though does serve his 5-second penalty in the pits as well for good measure. Get rid of that behind the safety car, so I think it looks like he might come out into the pits as well.
Yeah, so I think that's damage. I'm sure it's damage from the Kluszczak incident.
Yeah, new front wing for Dean, then it seems after the incident with Kluszczak. Yeah, again, was facing the wrong way. It would have been difficult for him to do that on his own accord. It looks like he has had a collision with somebody else. And so Twins' race saved essentially by that safety car, even with the safety car who's come out just ahead of his teammate then after serving that 5-second penalty. So it's worked out beautifully in the end, but somehow they're 5th and 6th on the road. No penalties now. They're just going to try and keep it clean to the end. There's some good points in it for them this evening. FaZe Ironboy though, up in 2nd place.
Yeah, I mean, TFE driver. I think he was one of the drivers that come in under the safety car pit intermediates on. Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic call from the TFE driver. Hopefully he can keep it up there. I mean, hopefully there's no more safety cars and drivers keep it nice and clean. And once we get going, I imagine you probably have 11, 12 laps to do. So yeah, it'd be nice podium for the driver if he can keep it there.
Yep, definitely he is carrying a 6-second penalty at the moment, so that might take him out of contention, depending on what pace he has on his intermediate tyres. He might have enough laps left to pull a slight gap from those behind him. Obviously, again, it depends on the pace of those behind him at the moment. The field's spread out though quite largely, so I imagine we're going to get at least another lap of safety car. Luke on 60 hertz showing us a minute behind the leader. Locker into the pits then.
New front wing and the pit crew's got a new front wing for him. Once again, didn't look like it was damaged, but you know, slight bit of damage in the veins will cost you a lot of time.
Yeah, of course, that promotes Twins and Silverside Boy and the Alpines up to 4th and 5th respectively there then. Snedden's rejoined the session despite being DNF'd, perhaps wants to spectate there, potentially. At the moment in 3rd place, he's currently off 2nd, obviously in terms of penalty, but I'm looking ahead and it seems like we saw it earlier on stream, TJ. FaZe Iron Boy struggling with connection and he's just dropped.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's Singapore and the web, but to do it under the safety car, that's a pretty unique set of skills. But yeah, no, I do agree again. It looks like he's having connection issues again, and I imagine someone will be in touch to get that connection tested.
Yep, good to note that then. Twins and Silverside Boy promoted now to 3rd and 4th place. Again, just emphasising how these incidents and the safety car timings have really helped that team out there. Not many penalties now throughout the field following FaZe Iron Boy's retirement. He'll be disappointed to have retired there. I can tell you that much from 2nd place. He was having a good race up until then, after dropping it behind the safety car then. And Dean and Collateral Lads now, for me, TJ, are going to be the drivers to watch here on the restart, because they've got Liam Cornforth and Adrian ahead of them, then the likes of Silverside Boy and Twins, and I think there's still a podium in this for Dean if he keeps it clean.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I believe Adrian still goes to AI, so that should be an easier seat for both drivers. But yeah, Liam Cornforth, you know, he has got he can defend. Maybe not cleanly sometimes, but he can defend. So this will be very interesting.
You sound like you're talking from experience there, TJ.
I mean, I might have an incident with my monitor, as the guinea pigs agree once again.
The guinea pigs clearly agree with. You know, when you hear the guinea pigs, you know they agree with what you're saying.
Oh,
there
yeah,
we go.
I'm still agreeing.
There we go. So they clearly know what they're talking about, those guinea pigs there in the background. As we have 13 runners left then in this Singapore Grand Prix Tier 3 priority race then. The last social race for the Tier 3 drivers. Good time to mention we will be streaming again tomorrow evening. It's a race around Sochi, Russia. Tier 1 priority, I can tell you now. Whilst we're behind the safety car, we are currently due to have a field of 11 Tier 1 drivers. So that should be an interesting watch then, with the half the field being Tier 1 drivers. Be interesting to see how they perform around Sochi. We're also streaming on Friday as well. Tier 2 priority race around Monza. So join us for those 2 races. And I'm assuming they'll be interesting races. I know, as I mentioned, half the field tomorrow will be Tier 1 drivers. Russia, I imagine, will be very similar to this race, obviously depending on whether we know it's a street circuit as well. Is it a street circuit? I don't think it's a street circuit, but it's kind of like it's a very close. You know how to describe it really. Obviously, everyone knows Sochi that's watching the stream. It's obviously very close in terms of barriers and things like that. It's very narrow at times. I don't think it's a street circuit. I think it was purpose built, wasn't it, around the Olympic Park? I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's built by the Olympic Park. Yeah, definitely not classed as a street circuit. But as you mentioned, some of the walls can be pretty close from there.
Yeah, so definitely be an interesting watch. Tomorrow then, as the safety car is finally coming in to give us 11 laps of racing, hopefully, depending on any other safety cars. The setting should be reduced for the safety cars on a street circuit, or, well, not even a street circuit. all the time, so hopefully that has been followed. And MS Drive gets us underway behind the safety car for the 4th time, then playing a blinder with the intermediate tyres and keeps the lead from LWS Yorkie on the restart there. But the Alpines behind Twins definitely looking to get past LWS Yorkie into turn 1 there.
Yeah, I thought that Twins had a bit of a poor exit up the final corner. I thought he went wide and was smacked into the wall. But yeah, he'll be looking to get past LWS Yorkie pretty quick. He's low at the back of him here. DRS still disabled, but you got more traction on the intermediate tyres. So this, I'm expecting more battles up and down the grid now, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to mention this, TJ. There is 11 laps to go, 10 and a half now, I should say. But has the rain stopped for you on your screen? Look, I think the rain stopped.
On the camera, it's dripping down the lens, but on track, it doesn't look like it's raining at all.
If you spectate AMS Drive out in front in cockpit, I can't see any raindrops now on the lens without the spray. So,
yeah, you're right.
10 laps
Yeah.
to go. Are we going to see some slick running?
Oh, Lewis Mason's
there is
out.
an instant. Lewis Mason out for Mercedes. Then I think that's the slingshot corner, the ex-slingshot corner, I should say. Turn 8 in the wall. No safety car just yet. Thankfully, we are going to continue with some racing, it seems, at the moment.
Just picked himself up a 3-second time penalty, and I imagine it's his podium ruined now.
Podium ruined for Twins, all depending on his pace, and he seems caged up behind Yorkie at the moment in 2nd place. Quickly to the Twitch chat at the moment. Booking any message says Lolface will win, mark my words. That will be an impressive turnaround from 11th place, but never say never in this league. Silverside Boys sponsor Biddle and TJ. I don't know if that means whether to sponsor me and you, TJ, or whether he wants the sponsor, but we have already done the sponsor in the stream. I'm sure he'll watch it back and enjoy listening to that segment of the stream.
I mean, if Silverside Boy wants to sponsor both of us, I'm not going to reject that. I mean, we are a great pair on comms, and if he wants to put a bit of money at us, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, I do feel like a little bit of a...
Hank has just come into the pits for a set of softs. We have got the first slick driver.
We have got the first slick drive, but surely the surface is still too wet for those slicks. I don't think he had much to lose given his position. Let's just ride on board with him then and see how he manages on those softs. It's a brave move by the Williams driver. He seems to be doing okay at the moment. There is still a bit of spray though coming off the tyres and definitely on the camera lens, and let's see how he deals. Oh yeah, he's completely understeered there. I think it's just a little bit too soon, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, nothing to lose from back there, but I think that's... I'd be having a word with the team and asking why they call them for the soft tyres.
He's already 30 seconds back from Luke on 60 Hz, who's currently propping up the main field at the moment then, so he's got to try and make it work now. A brave call from the driver there as Twins is ahead then of Yorkie.
Oh, yeah, so I'm not sure what happened with Yorkie there, because he went a bit wide and cut the corner and he had contact. Yorkie was a bit loose, but mine still keeps on track. Yeah, it looked like it. Yorkie went a bit wide, Twins got moved on, and Yorkie perhaps joined the track a little bit eagerly. A Silverside Boy picked himself up a 3-second time penalty off.
Yeah, so now second, third, and fourth, all with a 3-second time penalty, as you mentioned. I think Yorkie left the track and rejoined, and seemed to have a little bit of contact with Twins. I think they've both got away with it, but Twins and Silverside Boy now up into second and third place then, ahead of the Haas driver, who just seemed to have a little bit of a nightmare there in the final couple of corners.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the moment, depending on the pace how Silverside Boy, Twins and Yorkie get along, Liam Cornforth is on for a podium here.
He is indeed. He is indeed. Depends on the pace those drivers have. Twins and Silverside Boy at the moment. He is on for a podium, but again, as I mentioned, it does look like we might see some slight drive running. It depends, obviously, at what point the crossover is, whether it's worth it coming into the pits for the slick tyres. They might just choose to try and eke those intermediates to the end, especially someone like AMS Drive, who's got nearly an 8-second gap between himself and Twins. But of course, if the track dries up, you just lose so much time compared to slick runners that we might have some surprises on our hands here towards the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good. Ooh, I think Comfortable had a bit of a connection issue then, so I thought it looked like he spun, but he come back on track. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting end to the race for definite, and see what drivers try to rest stay on these intermediates, try to keep track position.
I really want to see some DRS action before the end of this race. That's what I want to see. And it does look like it's gradually getting towards the point where we might get to see some at the end of this race. Dean still remains tucked up behind Liam Cornforth. He will be very eager to get past him, especially if he knows the penalty situation ahead of him on the road at the moment. A penalty still within reach for the McLaren driver as it stands, but there is still 7.5 laps to go now. AMS Drive still leading us here on lap 24 of 31. Then for the Williams team is a yellow flag out.
Yeah, I think that's for Hankers. Yeah, Hankers is really struggling them soft tyres. He's it was a good, maybe a good call for him if it paid off. But yeah, you called it better. It was just too soon for the soft tyres. Although the track is looking in a bad condition for him probably now.
Yeah, again, it just looks so deceiving. You can see some parts there is spray and some parts there isn't. I think it is just that little bit too wet, especially in the final sector at the moment. Just think about the slick tyres. AMS Drive now getting that gap up to 10 seconds between himself and Twins. As I said, leading us on lap 24. Then it is Silverside Boy and Twins at the moment on track, at least in the podium places for Alpine at the moment. Henkas retires in the pits lane, and his gamble not paying off, unfortunately, and he was too far back on the back of the pack. As another fastest lap there from AMS Drive then.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that Twins is pointing a nice gap between himself and Silverside Boy. I mean, as it stands, he's probably safer podium place. I think Liam Cornforth is still on for a podium at this point. Of my maths, no, my maths is really bad. Liam Cornforth does miss out on the podium at the moment.
I don't know.
just about.
I'm trying to do maths myself.
Just about.
I think he's 2.5 seconds back from Silverside Boy at the minute. So 1.5 seconds. He's a second back from Yorkie, and Yorkie's 2.5 back from Silverside Boy. So I think. Oh well, I'll just say that. I think. Oh, I don't know. There's still 6 laps to go. I think at the current pace, I think we can pretty safely say that Liam Cornforth is going to miss out on a podium if the pace continues at the moment. Not too many battles going out on track at the moment. The closest one is between Liam Cornforth, Dean and Ads at the moment for 5th, 6th and 7th.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just come into this battle because they're being backed up behind this little battle that's going on. I think this is the issue about DRS not being active currently, is that drivers are using the DRS to get themselves at the launch at the corner, but there's nowhere else to overtake it, and the drivers are probably just struggling to get the traction they want in this dirty air, to be honest.
Yeah, without that DRS, it's just so difficult to get past somebody, especially as you mentioned with the dirty air. The traction obviously being hampered at the moment as well, giving all the network mergers off the corner really does limit the overtaking at the moment. Now, as AMS Drive takes us with 5 and 6 laps to go, I should say that gap up to 12 seconds now out in front barring any major mistakes from the Williams driver, I think it's pretty safe that he has got the win in the bag at the moment. I don't want to commentator's curse him there, but it's looking pretty obvious at the moment for Twins to do anything about that. Liam Cornforth does now trickle outside that 3-second gap then, TJ. So indeed at the moment the podium would be AMS Drive, Twins and Silverstone. As I mentioned, still 6 laps to go. Anything can happen. A word from Henkas, who we saw valiantly try the soft tyres about 5 laps ago, I think it was now, in the Twitch chat, who says, I think the softs were a mistake. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty... that's one way to sum it up, I guess. I mean...
I mean, your mistake there, from what I've just been reading, is you listen to Jeff, and you don't listen to Jeff. Jeff doesn't know what he's on about.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier to TJ, nobody wants Jeff in their ear. No one wants anybody called Jeff in their ear, whether it's Jeff from F1, Jeff on the street, Jeff anywhere. Just get him out your ear. Don't want him there. Trust me. Never listen to a man called Jeff. Apologies to anyone called Jeff in the league or watching. And Kachal says, never trust Jeff. Haha, that's a star move, mate. Yep, again, PG friendly chat. Kachal there. I won't mention what word I think that'll be for the under 18s that are inevitably watching the stream. Family friendly, as always. FPRL, as Liam Cornforth. TJ picked up a 3-second penalty to confirm that he most likely won't get a podium this evening.
Yeah, definitely. He must have felt left out, the lad. Now, anyone, I mean, Dino might have just picked one up just to be in this party, I think. Apologies for the commentator curse there, Dino, if you do get one. I mean, I don't know about you now, but I'm flicking drive to driver, and there's hardly any rain dropping on the lens. And the track is looking unbelievably dry. But I think it might be just a little bit too late for the slick tyres.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just following the drivers here, and I'm riding on board with collateral lads actually through the first sector, coming into the second. And there's just parts in which there's still spray coming off the tyres. And around a street circuit, if there's any kind of spray at all, the slick tyres might just throw you into the wall. It's not worth it, especially for someone like Drive at the moment out in front. No point in picking the slick tyres at this point.
DRS has been enabled, which would suggest the slick tyres are the tyres to go on potentially.
Right, so I'm going to get my wish then. I'm going to get to see some DRS over. I'm going to get see some DRS overtakes as Dean goes wide. And it's trying to move up the inside there. Dean holds the position for now. Ooh, has thrown up the inside. No, thinks better of it. And Dean just gets away with it. Did he hit the wall? I don't think he did.
AMS drivers in the pits. Sorry to interrupt, but AMS drivers coming in the pits. I imagine he's coming for the slicks. But will the other drivers follow?
Well, with 4 laps to go then.
Twins have stayed out.
Indeed. AMS Drive does pit indeed for the soft compound tyres then. So this is it, isn't it? I said, you know, AMS Drive. Now, as Dean gets a 5-second speeding in the pit lane, you know, is there much point? I know there's 4 laps to go, but he's going to have to see a big increase in pace at the moment from those slick tyres to catch the top 2 now.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I've Alpine pulled another worldy move here, both drivers staying out. But for me, I'm on board with AMS Drive, and the track is looking unbelievably dry. And he is gaining time. Just in one corner, he's just gained about 3-4 tenths.
So let's have a look then to see who chose to come into the pits for new tyres, and it is most of the field, excluding 4 drivers, Twins, Silverstone Boy, Luke on 60 Hz, David Lowface, all opting to stay out on intermediates, and AMS Drive, Liam Cornforth, Dean and Ads all in for the softs, Locker and Adrian on the medium then. So Henkas, this was the point in which it was worth it coming into the pits. Unfortunately, and as you mentioned, TJ, AMS Drive has just lit those tyres up and he's making them work at the moment. The gap between him and the Silverside boys almost come down by 4 or 5 seconds at the moment. The track just seems to have gone in the space of 3 laps completely the opposite way to where it was. The Silverside boys struggling there through under the grandstand, keeping it out of the wall. Surely these Alpines have to pit now unless they're going to try and just carry on round till the end but lose so much time. His twins, I think he's coming into the pits then.
Yeah, as he messes his great point going into the pits. Personally, I think the Alpine have got no choice but to double stop. But the Silverside boy decides to stay out. I mean, I think that's the wrong choice personally. I think given how quick these slicks have lit up, he'll be eaten alive quite quickly.
Yeah, David Lawford and Luke on 60 Hz. We just saw David Lawford struggle even to make it into the pit lane. Luke on 60 Hz picking up a 5-second penalty again. Read the F1 and FPR rulebook. There's a speed limit. There is a speed behind the safety car. Don't ready up. Don't retire on track. I'll say it again. But it just seems like Silverside boy here. TJ, we said Liam Cornforth weren't going to get a podium.
I mean, how quick has that turned round? I imagine we're going to see this 20-second gap come down pretty rapidly here.
Well, Silverside boy still in the middle of sector 2, then just about to come over the bridge now, and he is
squirming
all
what a
over
move
the
from
place.
Twins! Twins put himself up to P3 for a fantastic move down the inside of Liam Cornforth.
Yeah, and let's have a quick look at the penalties and a quick squeeze there. They've all got 3 seconds at the moment then, so Collateral Lads here in 5th place. We've not seen much of him in this race so far, but with them all on 3-second penalties at the moment, it's even Stevens really in that sense, and perhaps he can find himself on the podium in this race.
Yeah, definitely. We saw he had the pace. These conditions just suit him down to the ground. I imagine he's going to try get past Liam and potentially Twins pretty quickly here.
AMS driver 42A, just perhaps signalling there just how quick these tyres are in comparison. Silverside boy has lost nearly 10 seconds there in the space of 2 sectors.
Yeah, he's coming to the pits now. Like I mentioned, I think he probably should have double stacked. He probably would have lost. He probably would have gained a bit of time by double stacking. But at least he's going to face the points. We've only got 9 drivers facing now.
Indeed, we only have 9 drivers left out of a full grid of 20. It has been one of those chaotic races, and the slick tyre running at the end here, I should say, just adding even more spice to this race. And the fight now is surely between Collateral Lads and Liam Cornforth here for the final podium place, and both drivers with a 3-second penalty, so no discrepancies there between the penalties. And now we're just going to get a straight fight between the two of them. Dean, 5-second penalty, he's not really in the running at the moment, so this now is the fight till the end of the race, with the gap between the top 2 being so big at the moment.
Yeah, it says. I mean, given how we know Collateral Lads, on paper he should get his last podium place quite easily. As we mentioned earlier in the race, that Liam Cornforth is a good defender, and hopefully he keeps it nice and clean if Collateral Lads makes a move. But this will be interesting. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting last lap.
It is going to be interesting that lap, but the viewers might have just seen on the top of the screen there, Collateral Lads has picked up another 3-second time penalty.
No.
So all Liam Cornforth has to do now, surely, is, even if Ads gets past, keep it clean, and a podium is surely in the bag for the Aston Martin driver now.
Yeah, definitely. We're about to see what pressure he can take. Can he hold the pressure of knowing he just needs to keep it clean?
Well, any penalty here for Liam Cornforth might present an unexpected opportunity to Dean in 5th place. I know he's got a 5-second penalty from speeding in the pit lane, but if Liam Cornforth picks up another 3 seconds, they'll both have 6. Dean will only have 5, and he is right on the back of the pair of them at the moment.
I mean, what a battle for this last podium place. How many times has the podiums changed hands now? Yeah, it's... I can't even call it at this point.
Well, I think at one point it was Locker, then it was Silverside Boy, then it was Yorkie. And,
oh, Liam Cornforth's dropped it. He's out.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Oh dear. In the same place. Yeah, just on the bridge. He's just buckled under the pressure. The Aston Martin driver, the controversy is that much. We've not even spoken about AMS Drive crossing the line and taking a commanding win. Liam Cornforth will have his head in his hands. He will not believe he's dropped it there and lost the opportunity of his first podium, as Twins now is about to come across the line and take that 2nd place. I don't think there was any contact between the drivers there, and as I mentioned, Dean with the unlikely podium. Liam Cornforth, I should say, dropping out of the running, hitting the wall on the bridge. Silverside Boy takes the fastest lap at the end of the race. That'll be his claim to fame, finishing in 5th place. Adrian H in 6th. Locker finishes 7th. David Lowface in 8th. And 8 finishers then. Liam Cornforth.
So big shout out to David. He's doing a bit of donuts on the final corner.
Oh.
And whether it's intentional or not, he's just come across the line.
Well, I didn't quite catch that, unfortunately for him. We was too busy discussing what we saw in the last lap there. Liam Cornforth, I can't believe you mentioned it, CJ. You thought he might buckle under the pressure, and he did do. I don't know how much experience he has in league racing, but do you think that was just pressure from ads behind that made him make that mistake?
Yeah, I think so. You know, he's probably a little bit eager to get his first podium, especially against some of these big boys in Tier 1. And yeah, I think he just pushed it a little bit too hard instead of just keeping a calm head. And yeah, unfortunately, just cost him his podium.
Well, cost him his podium indeed, and there is your finishing order then for the Tier 3 Priority Social Race around Singapore. AMS Drive taking a commanding win in the end by over 28 seconds. He absolutely dominated qualifying and the race, and will be many drivers' favourite and viewers, I imagine, for the Tier 1 title next season. Twins in 2nd place, a good result from him. I think he was helped by safety cars, and getting that pit stop in ahead of Silverside Boy gave him 2nd place. Dean with, I think you won't mind me saying, an unlikely 3rd place there following Liam Cornforth's retirement and penalties for collateral ads, who finishes 4th. Silverside Boy in 5th. Adrian in 6th. Locker 7th for Red Bull. David Lowface, the last of the finishers, in 8th place, and Liam Cornforth, as we saw, crash out on the last lap from 3rd there in 9th, and Luke on 60 Hertz is classified 3 laps down and in 10th place then. So let's see if we can get some driver interviews. I mean, I have
a vast AMS Drive and wins, but no luck with them just yet.
No luck with them just yet. Do you know what, TJ? It might be nice to hear from Liam Cornforth, actually, if we can see what happened there on that final lap. AMS Drive does join us in the party. So we've got a couple of interviews now.
Yeah, we've got Twins here as well.
Twins here as well. Do you know what? I can't remember what cars everyone was in. I think Dean was in the McLaren. We'll go with McLaren. There we go. I think Twins and Torns in the Alpine. So we'll go with that one. Let's see. AMS drive in the Williams, dominating in the Williams, perhaps something we've not seen for years. Definitely making it work around Singapore.
Thank you.
So we've got 3 podium finishers with us then. I think that is the... I think that's all. We'll get in the party then. Dean in 3rd place, Twins 2nd, and AMS Drive. A commanding win then. TJ, if you want to kick off the interviews with Dean, I'll interview Twins, and then you can interview the race winner. If you want to take it away.
Yeah, sure. If the drivers make sure they've got the audio included, please.
Yeah.
So Dino, P3. I mean, like we start with the question of, did you expect to finish on the podium?
Halfway through the race, I thought I would be on the podium, but then at the end, I went 1 kilometer too fast on the pit lane, and I got 5 seconds, and I thought it was over. So I'm still surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think Biddle mentioned it just before the race finished that there must have been 5 or 6 drivers that were in P3 at one time and looked like they were going to fly away with the podium. So, yeah, congratulations, getting P3.
Thank you.
How did you find the race? Obviously, it absolutely hammered it down, and it was hampered by a lot of safety cars. So, how did you find it? Did you just have to keep resetting your mindset after each safety car?
Well, you know, it's so that you could have finished the race on 1 wet tire. So I wasn't too concerned about the safety cars. It was just a bit annoying because I wanted to finish the race as quickly as possible so I could take a nap. But no, I'm happy it dried up at the end because that means the race would go faster. But through strategies, I think there was nothing really that special. I just went to the right tire when the time was there.
Yeah, definitely you did. One thing I do want to talk to you about, and I'm not sure if you can shed any light on it, is the when Kaluchchev went out. Can you can you tell us what happened there?
Well, he was behind me and someone else. I don't know who was behind me. And he was about to overtake the car behind me, but he couldn't see his braking point, also because he's playing cockpit cam. So it's a bit hard to see the racing line then, especially also in the wet. So he just broke way too late and just went straight in front. So that sucked for him.
Oh yeah, that's very unlucky because he was having a good drive as well today. But yeah, I mean, Dino, yeah, P3, absolutely fantastic. So this is the last Tier 3 social. Obviously, you've got the Tier 1 social tomorrow. Are you looking forward to racing around Russia?
Yeah, definitely. It's a really exciting track. I've raced a lot of 5-lappers here with some guys, and you can just push each other to a very good limit because the track runs wide a lot. So we're going to see some beautiful racing there tomorrow.
We certainly are, and I look forward to hopefully be participating in that. But I will end that interview there. Congratulations to the P3 on your P3, Dino, as I'll hand over to Biddle.
Yep, so congratulations again, Dean, on your 3rd place, and so it is Twins who finished in 2nd for Alpine. And Twins, we didn't see too much of you during the race until after. I think it was a safety car incident where you seemed to throw yourself up the field alongside your teammate, and then you were running kind of, you know, mid-pack of the top 10, 5th and 6th for a while. You just seemed to pick off the drivers as they were crashing out. Just talk to me about, obviously, that race in terms of how wet it was. Was you just trying to keep it clean as you saw drivers dropping out left, right and centre?
Nah, in all honesty, I enjoyed the conditions today. I thought, personally, I was one of the faster drivers on the track in the wets. I felt really confident under braking and just following drivers through. Obviously, around here, you need to really be patient with the overtakes. Obviously, I was behind Dean and some other drivers at some point in the race and just had to sit behind them for quite a while. But no, honestly, I had the pace really, and on lap 1 I went round outside of Kaluchchev, and as soon as the team car came out with angled wheels, and you know, that sent me back to the back of the field. I had to fight my way up, you know, and then lap 20 something, safety comes out, I'm in P1 on the wet tyres, I pit between, and yeah, from there on the pace is there.
Yeah, definitely. I think we saw a point late on in the race actually where it was swapping over to the intermediates. You chose to stay out initially. What was the thought process behind that? Obviously, I think you pitted 1 lap later than the rest of the most. Of the rest of the field. What was the thought process there?
Yeah, I think because me and Gary went past obviously, and we discussed whether who was going first. Because also me and Gary are so close together, obviously can't double stack, or one of us going to lose time. So we're discussing this, and Gary's like, stay out, stay out. So we both stay out, and then lap after, I make the pit. I'm behind Liam, and then, you know, I told Gary to pit because that would have eventually led to him having a podium. He would have been here talking with you, but he decided not to pit, and he was 17 seconds, I think, ahead of me when I came out to pits. We'd take the free, saying that he lost 7 seconds of his time, so he had to pit again. All the stuff, so yeah, that was the end of his race, but luckily I didn't lose too much time. I got ahead of Liam, who unfortunately on the last lap, you know, hit the wall or something and lost the podium as well. But no, nothing else to say really. I think it was my day today and get the podium, and yeah.
One of the other things I wanted to say is obviously we were watching up in the commentary box, and we saw there was a couple of safety cars that favoured you slightly. I think one of the times you had to come in after your teammate because I think he chose to go around again and he was behind you or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But the last one I wanted to talk about is with you were kind of reversed on the track, and it was actually Silverside Boy who took the extra lap, and he lost 10 seconds to you there. Taking that extra lap on the intermediate times. Was it ever discussed between the two of you that you might explore the double stack, or was he always going to go round again and try and...
No, we weren't thinking, never thinking of double stack, just losing so much time as well, and the pit's quite slow, and yeah, I think double stack was never an option around it because me and Gary obviously similar pace around it, and we didn't want either of us losing so much time to each other because it just would be really unfair, so, you know, one after the other. But no, he said to me after he was going to risk it and go to the end on the intermediates, but you know the track dried out so much that he just couldn't. So yeah, initial thought process was to pit, but he decided not to. I don't know why, but you know, it's racing.
Yeah, definitely. And just finally, I just wanted to touch upon, I think next season you've been initially placed in Tier 2. We know you were a Tier 1 driver from last season. The drivers will know that as well. Do you think tonight you've shown slightly that perhaps you might have the pace to kind of, you know, compete in Tier 1, if not, you know, right at the front of Tier 2?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think Tier 1 for me is just slightly a bit challenging. There's drivers in there, obviously very fast drivers like Andy Ferrari and AMS Drive and all of them lots, so you know, keeping up with them is definitely really hard. I mean, AMS Drive finished the race in what, like 20 seconds ahead of the whole field. So, you know, I think Tier 2 is the right tier for me. Obviously, you've got so many people on similar pace. Also like Gary as well, like Silverside Boy, and many people like Josh Litt as well. We've got moved down from Tier 1 to Tier 2. But no, I think today I've shown what I'm capable of and hopefully challenged to be up there in Tier 2.
Yep, definitely I couldn't agree with you more there. Good pace today, congratulations on P2 and good luck for the start of your season next week as well. I'll hand over to TJ who will interview the race winner AMS Drive.
Alright, cheers.
Yeah, congrats on your P2 twins. Fantastic drive from yourself. So, AMS Drive. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than you control the race from beginning to end, including qualifying. How did you find it?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't really script like tough conditions, like full wet, going interchangeable in Singapore. It's just like it's the stuff of nightmares. I mean, just congratulations to everyone who finished that. That was properly difficult. But my race was pretty quiet most of the time, so I was trying to be proactive with the strategy. I think I was one of the first to go. Well, from my point of view, I think I was one of the first to go onto the slicks and also onto the inters. And caught up in a little bit of traffic, but I just kept nosing, and it was just, yeah, really good.
Yeah, I was going to pick you up on that actually. You were right. You were the first driver to go on the intermediates and the slicks. just I want to talk more about the intermediate when you switched across to switch the tyres. Why did you make that call at that time? Because only a couple of drivers come in with you, and the rest stayed out on the wets. And it wasn't until the safety car come in that other drivers realised that the intermediates were probably the right tyre choice. So how come you choose to come in a little bit early compared to everyone else?
Well, I knew obviously before the race, sorry, on the MFD, it shows sort of going towards lap 20 that the crossover period was going to be. So I thought, and obviously the safety car came out, I'm sure it was lap 14 something, so we're going to have a few laps. And I thought it would just be a massive advantage to try and just secure my position in the race and not have to pit then like straight after the safety car right as it's ending, as many people like to do. So it ended up being the right call, but the only issue was that put me like right in the pack on the inters which weren't going to warm up and like really weren't going to work, but it ended up paying off. It definitely was a risk, but it ended up paying off quite well. As you say, it paid off really well. You started picking the pace up.
I did lie to you slightly. You weren't the first person to go on the slick tyres. Unfortunately, Henkers was, and he did it probably 4 laps too early.
4 laps? Jeez.
Yeah. But we'll say you were the first official driver to call it at the right time. I mean, did you have any concern that it wasn't the right call? I mean, we saw you absolutely gain time over Silverside Boy, who I think was ahead of you at the time. Obviously, you must have known that was the right call at the time.
Yeah, it was kind of sketchy. You really don't know how like the tyres are going to react. But as soon as I came out of the pit lane, they just worked and got up to temperature. And it's like, right, this is brilliant. And even if they didn't pit, you saw how quickly it was catching. It was like seconds on seconds in each sector. So I think it's just being really careful getting past. I was very surprised he didn't pit. I think he definitely would have saved time double stacking, but you know, it's just kind of in those moment situations, just see your teammate up in front of you, pull him to the pit. So maybe it was just kind of like a jerk reaction, but yeah, a bit unlucky to him, but yeah.
So moving away from the race, once again, congratulations on your win. You know, you controlled it from get-go really to the end. So moving away from the race, obviously the season starts next Thursday for yourself at Bahrain. And now this is my personal opinion, by the way, but I think you've thrown a lot of respect on your name during these social races, and you've certainly put yourself out there as a championship contender. How are you feeling for the season?
Yeah, feeling really good. I had quite a few good results, definitely through when I was doing reserves and in the social race. It's just been really enjoyable racing one of these guys, and I look forward to the race tomorrow as well. But yeah, going into the season, I'm just excited to have more good results, more good racing, and hopefully we can definitely pull some results together. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it.
That's brilliant to hear. I mean, Biddle, have you got anything you'd like to say for MS Driver? Asking any questions?
No, I think I just echo what you said. Really, he absolutely dominated today, and he's thrown a lot of respect on his name in these social races. I think a lot of drivers in the field will be fearing your pace come next week and the season as a whole. So congratulations on the win today and your previous wins in the social races as well, I should say, because like I said, you have shown some really good pace throughout these social races. TJ, have you got anything more to add, or is that you done? Yeah.
No, that's me done. You know, yeah, congratulations, and I can't wait to see how your season unfolds, AMS Drive.
Cheers, thank you very much.
So that was the Tier 3 priority race around Singapore. Congratulations again to our podium finishers. Unfortunately, they're not in the party anymore. It's just AMS joining us to round off the stream. We are back tomorrow night at 8 PM GMT once again with a Tier 1 priority race around Sochi, Russia. So join us for that one, I'm sure. Hopefully it will provide as much action as we saw tonight. And don't forget, our driver draw is this Sunday for Season 3. That again is at 8 PM GMT. And of course, next week our Season 3 gets underway the same time as tonight. Wednesday, 8 PM GMT, the Tier 3 race to kick off our Season 3 quite fittingly around Bahrain. But thank you for joining me in the commentary box again, TJ.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me again, Biddle, and hopefully we can be in the box next Wednesday for the Tier 3 kickoff.
Fingers crossed. It'll be nice to raise the curtain on the new season alongside yourself. And once again, yeah, next season gets underway next week, Wednesday. But join us tomorrow on Twitch, 8 PM for the Tier 1 race around Sochi.